Carol and Stephen's life together was perfect.
Daniel Day-Lewis is back somehow. TMNT notes from the class Megalopolis, more like Megaflopolis.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call. Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And
Who's that? Who the hell
I'm
is
your
that?
host, outrageous Tyler.
Yeah, who the hell is that over there?
that's not Tyler. That's Matt Smith donning a 6 foot tall mohawk. But that is actually from his upcoming movie, Darren Aronofsky's new movie,
yeah.
starring Matt Smith and Austin Butler, I believe.
Yeah. Second week in a row we're talking about Aronofsky on this show.
Is it?
Last week you compared it to Brian Tambori's
Oh yeah, that's right.
Plan B. The fundraising efforts, at least.
Yeah. The plot of the movie, I don't know about the parallels there, but but here we are once again, classmates. We have a great show for you today. Welcome everyone on YouTube Live and otherwise, and of course the OG classmates listening in podcast land.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and as you can see, actually Tyler is not present for this.
No, he's not. He had obligations today, and he let us know ahead of time. So I'm not going to trash him.
Even if it was like 30 minutes
That's
ahead
okay.
of time,
That's
it
okay.
was ahead of time.
it would technically check the box.
Yeah.
The box was checked. We weren't just sitting here like, what's happening to Tyler? Where is he?
No, it wasn't like last week.
Yeah. Yeah, and last week we had have some comments, from the class. Jack from Let's Crash This Parade. He left a comment on our live stream that said, right at the start of the intro, it's like, I'm going to be late for class, to the image of two hosts and a missing Tyler.
Who then proceeds to arrive late.
Yeah, in the middle of the interview. It was great. on brand.
Yeah, and it's we're breaking records here in Northern California. It's the 100-degree days in October, and
the fuck?
the leaves aren't turning.
I know. What is happening? It's so hot
I know.
all the time.
I'm still wearing shorts.
I am too. I know.
But we have, but you know what we do have? We have movies.
Yes, we got plenty of movies.
Movies like the movie of the week that will wrap us in a cozy blanket,
fuck.
like TipToes.
Oh my god.
That
I can't wait to talk
are
about TipToes
always
later.
are always there to keep us warm and
It's like-
cozy.
I know. That's what I love about movies. It's like visiting an old friend. TipToes.
Yeah, TipToes.
I
that
can go
old
back
friend.
and rewatch it as many times as I want, and Gary Oldman will still be just as offensive.
Yeah, and Peter Dinklage is French.
Yeah. That sure is an accent.
Yeah, he's doing an impression of a French person.
Yeah, that's right. That's what acting is.
Yeah, but yeah, enough of that. Let's get into some Gab Chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for Gab Chatter.
Gab Chatter, movie news, movie things to discuss that are movie related, maybe.
Yeah.
Pete, what do you have?
Okay, so before I get into news stories and a note from the class about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I want to address our voicemail.
Oh, yes. It's been a situation.
There's been things have happened.
Things have been discovered.
Yeah, so Tyler's been begging the classmates to leave a voicemail on, and this is the voicemail is something that Tyler created on his own. He decided I want a voicemail line so the classmates can call in and just leave us a voicemail. We play it on air, and that's that.
Yes,
Pretty straightforward.
He manages it.
It's his
More
cross
or
to
less.
bear. Yeah, he pays for the week. Well, that's what we thought was paying for the monthly fee. And when he gets a new voicemail, he'll send it over to me, and then we put it on the board. We play it. And on the last episode, he said, "It's been 365 days since I got the last voicemail. Please call in."
Yeah,
Begging.
A little coincidence, a little coincidental there. I think.
Yeah, it is. And so we got an email from Dallas, who was on the show not last week, but the week before.
For Grizzly Man.
For Grizzly Man, yeah. He was our Patreon pick, a Grizzly Man from Dallas, and he came out and did a call-in. It was great. We love having Dallas on the show. And he said, hey, I sent you a voicemail. I tried to, and someone answered. Someone picked up and they said, hello? So we replied and just said, oh, that's just Tyler. He does that sometimes. He forgets about the voicemail. And I mean, to his credit, if it's happening once a year, I can understand why. I get that.
You see a number ringing,
A random number.
and you just like answer it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I was a little curious because I thought when I try to call when he's running late for the show, I don't get no answer.
Yeah, it doesn't even answer.
So I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
A call that goes directly to his phone.
So Dallas says, okay, I'll call again. He calls again. And this time someone else answers and he goes, hello, I'm trying to leave a message for the podcast. And the guy goes, I don't know what you're talking about, and hangs up on him.
Poor Dallas. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I know. Dallas is like, where's the Dallas drop I got here?
Somehow.
The voicemail doesn't work. Yeah, no. And so we grilled Tyler about it, and it turns out he hasn't been paying the bill. So we don't have a working voicemail.
The guy seems so pissed. I'm sorry, Dallas.
I know. The guy on the other line, enraged that he's getting random calls in the middle of the night.
Stop calling me.
I know. So I was like, maybe I should call and find out it's Tyler. I was like, nah, this is Tyler's thing.
Yeah.
We'll let him figure it out. And he doesn't 100% know, but he thinks he just stopped paying the bill.
Yeah, the number was taken. Like it was taken away from us.
Yeah.
So don't if you want to leave a voicemail, or maybe you have been leaving voicemails and just been getting this guy who's been pissed off at you.
I know, he's like, who's this goddamn podcast? Who are these classmates? But yeah, sorry for whoever owns 209-730-6010 because we've been doxing them for like a year.
Yeah, what area code is that? Is that
That's Stockton.
Stockton?
It's just south of here. Yeah.
Okay.
Stockton and all the way down into parts of the Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah, so poor bastards.
So I don't know if we're gonna get it up and running again. I guess
leave
we'll
it up to
see.
Tyler. We'll
Yeah.
see. So, so I wanted to read a message from the class, from listener Steven, the Maple Syrup Don from Saskatchewan. Steven. He's our Canadian delegate from the Great White North, and he's a avid Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. So much so that we're friends on Facebook, and he's basically said, hey, if any of my friends in the out of state or out of the country can find these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys, these specific ones at Target, let me know. I'll ship them to you. Or, I'll have you ship them to me. I'll pay you for it. And I've done that for Mitch as well. The guy bought some Funko Pop Jurassic Park toys and shipped them to him because they were American only, and he's also Canadian. And so I was curious how Steven was going to take our rapid takedown, our unabashed hatred for.
Well, I didn't hate it.
No, you did. You did. It wasn't that bad. I re-listened to it, and I wasn't as harsh in hindsight. So first off, Steven says, wow, Tyler and I are about to fight.
A lot of vitriol for Tyler recently.
I know. It's all in love.
Yeah.
Tyler's like the little brother that we like to pick on. So he says, hold on a second. I got real words for you guys. First off, every one of the turtles would kick Poe's ass, the panda from Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he says. Then he says, honestly, an amazing episode. Minus every single word that came out of Tyler's mouth. I love him to bits, but geez, we need to wrestle. From shitting on Jack Nicholson, the best Joker, to ripping my turtles apart. So, Turtle comics were super duper dark. The cartoon totally changed the characters for obvious reasons. And then he gave us the rundown of which color is which because we couldn't figure it out. Originally, all the turtles were red, but the OG comics were in black and white anyways. So they were super violent, killing street punks and this and that, murdering Shredder. It's great. The movie holds a special place with me, of course. I was 9 when I saw it and absolutely was in love. Head over heels. I had the graphic novels and the cartoon was a favorite of mine. And of course, all the toys. I still collect figures and merch. My favorite is Michelangelo in almost every rendition, but Donnie is a close second in the movie. Part 2 and 3 kind of suck in my opinion, and that's based off the fact that they were 100%. They went 100% the kid route. Mikey actually uses pepperoni sticks at one time instead of nunchucks. If you guys enjoyed Mutant Mayhem, I highly recommend checking out TMNT 2012 from Nickelodeon. It's a show, but it's phenomenal and the best version of the Turtles going. Plus, the animation really is great. Be on the lookout for the R-rated Last Ronin movie coming out soon. It's live action and it will be very bloody. The story's great and I shall say no more due to heavy spoilers. Keep on rocking in the free world and love the show as per usual. Your friend and loyal listener, the Maple Syrup Don, Steve Alangelo. Love that. And then he said he had the soundtrack for the movie when he was a kid. It was a cassette tape, and each tape had a different color for the different turtles.
Yeah.
He also named his dog after Casey Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Steven. Appreciate that, buddy. Okay, on to my actual news story. Our most beloved Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
He's back.
He is back.
He's back. So in 2017, he decided he was going to end his acting career during his press tour for Phantom Thread from Paul Thomas Anderson. Quote, "All my life, I've mouthed off about how I should stop acting, and I don't know why it's different this time. But the impulse quite took a root in me. That became a compulsion," he told W Magazine. "It was something I had to do." So
His whole life?
that's what he
I
said.
should stop acting.
All my life, I've mouthed off about how I should stop acting.
Even before he started?
Yeah.
I should really stop.
You know, this thing I really care about and love, I should stop.
Yeah.
Before I even get going. So
I think we've only reviewed one Daniel Day-Lewis movie on this show, right?
There Will Be Blood.
Right? He hasn't been anything else we've reviewed.
No. Haven't done Last Mohicans. Didn't do My Left Foot.
Or Phantom Thread.
Didn't do Phantom Thread. No.
Or
Haven't done Lincoln.
Or The Crucible.
No, The Crucible. No Crucible. I have a few of those movies on physical media, and I haven't watched them yet, like The Crucible.
Yeah, I watched that in English class because we were reading The Crucible.
I feel I get that mixed up with Scarlet Letter.
Oh, so that's similar type of story, I guess.
I don't know. So, anyways, he's coming back, and the project he's coming back for is something that he co-wrote with his son, Ronan Day-Lewis. Ronan.
Ninja Turtles Ronin?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
So he's a 3-time Oscar winner, and the project is going to be produced by Focus Features and Brad Pitt's production company, Plan B.
Oh.
It quote, explores the intricate relationship between fathers, sons, and brothers and the dynamics of the familial bonds. Daniel Day-Lewis is going to star opposite Sean Bean, Samantha Morton,
Oh.
Sean Bean,
Bean Man.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean.
Samuel Bottomley, and Sophia Oakley Green.
Samuel Lobotomy?
Bottomley.
Oh.
He's a power Bottomley.
Oh. It's very bottomly of you.
So Day-Lewis is 67 years old, and his son is 26, which means he was 46 when he had him, right?
Mm-hmm. I guess.
Something like that.
I don't know. Math.
Let's do the math. 41. I'm sorry. 41, and I checked to see like if his wife was just like a lot younger or something like that, because 41's a little bit old to have a kid, but not necessarily in Hollywood, and not for a man.
My dad was 40 when I was born.
Yeah, it's different for the guy because you're just donating the sperm. The woman has to like actually carry it to term. Does a lot more damage to the body.
Guys can just keep shooting loads.
That's right. I heard that like Thomas Jefferson's grandson is still alive.
What?
Because he had Thomas Jefferson had his like oldest child when he was like 80 something.
Grandchild?
His grandchild.
Like not great. Grandchild.
Not great.
Allegedly he's still alive?
I think he is. I saw a picture of him.
Oh. How old is he?
I don't know.
It's gotta be is it Jimmy Carter? He's like 100.
Thomas, let's see here. Thomas
Jimmy
Jefferson.
Carter is still alive.
Yeah.
Just turned 100. Can't believe that he survived like Nazi Germany and stuff, and is present for the Hawk Tua podcast.
Talk to a.
Talk Tua, yeah.
Say what you will about that girl. That's a fantastic way to capitalize on her 15 minutes. Talk to a.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so stupid.
And yet here we are, trucking away 5 years.
Oh, it's John Tyler, not Thomas Jefferson. John Tyler, America's 10th president, was born in 1790, and he has a living grandson.
How is that possible?
For those curious about the dates, John Tyler's son, Lyon Gardner Tyler Sr., was born August 1853, when the former president was 63. And then his son, Harrison Ruffin Tyler, was born in November 1928. His father was 75 years when he was birthed. Yeah.
Wait, so this is his
grandson. This is
okay.
John Tyler's grandson.
And who's John Tyler?
He's our 10th president.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's American education for you. I couldn't tell you.
I've never yet. 10th? Who cares about the 10th president?
I know. John Tyler. What a name, though.
We only care about the first,
It's like Ricky Bobby.
the 16th, and the newest one.
And the 45th.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so Daniel Day-Lewis is coming back, and now the earth can heal.
Yeah.
That's it.
I wonder, he's like, please, Dad, please, will you be in my movie?
Well, it's it's a very stark difference to the Shannon, not Shannon Elizabeth, who's from Bedazzled. She was married to Hugh Grant for a while.
Oh, Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley. Remember her son had a sexual thriller that she starred
Oh,
in?
yeah.
Where she was doing a lesbian hardcore love scene.
Yeah.
He wrote and directed it.
Yeah. Her in that scene.
Yeah.
All right, Mom. I mean,
All right, Mom.
scissor her.
Get right up in there. Yeah. What is he? What did they say in American Psycho? I don't even want to say that. So anyway,
Don't just stare at it.
yeah, don't stare at it. Eat it. So
Mom.
yeah. Oh my god, what are we doing? All right, so that's
Mommy?
that's Daniel Day-Lewis coming back to the silver screen. Can't wait.
Yeah, whenever that comes out, I wonder what kind of movie he's making, or she, or they.
Who?
Ronan.
It's exploring the relationship between fathers and sons and brothers. That's the
theme of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it has a name.
A little on the nose.
Oh, it's the name of the movie is called Anemone.
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 Like
a sea anemone.
Anemone.
Yeah, a sea anemone.
Okay. A sea enemy.
I thought that was the production company, but the movie's called Anemone.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Directed by Ronan Day-Lewis and written and co-written by both him and his dad.
Ah, Mr. Day-Lewis.
Yeah, that's right.
You think that's how he is addressed sometimes? Mr. Day-Lewis.
I hope so. That's what I call him. I call him Sir.
Sir Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
He's British, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. He's not knighted though.
Oh, yeah. He should be. All right, cool. Tyler? Oh, he's not here. So my news stories. I'm gonna go through some headlines because there was a lot I think that came out this week.
Yeah.
First, Alien Romulus has become the highest grossing horror movie of all time, specifically in IMAX theaters.
All right.
Way to go, Fede.
Cool.
Fede
Yeah.
Alvarez. Good job.
I'm a fan of Fede.
Yeah, Don't Breathe was solid.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Really good.
I wasn't breathing the whole time. It's like going through a tunnel
It's weird
or
because
going over a bridge.
it's weird because I'd seen Stephen Lang in a lot of stuff before, but that's the first thing I think of.
Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, there's,
Something else.
There was, I don't know if there was some Western I'd seen him in recently that was pretty good.
I guess that makes sense. He looks like he'd be in a Western.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein has reportedly wrapped filming. The movie stars Jacob Elordi, Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz.
Yeah.
Is he playing Van Helsing?
I think maybe.
Is Van Helsing in the Frankenstein universe?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's all the same universe.
I guess so, yeah. It looks like Jacob Elordi might be Frankenstein, and Oscar Isaac is Dr. Frankenstein? No, sorry. Jacob Elordi is Frankenstein's monster. Oscar Isaac is Frankenstein. I don't know.
I'll look it up while you go to the next one.
Edgar Wright's Running Man remake, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 80s, is set to release next November, 2025, November 21st, and starring Glenn Powell in the lead role. I can't remember Schwarzenegger's character's name. And Katie O'Brien also has been added onto that cast. And like,
Sick.
after watching Love Lies Bleeding,
Yeah.
and obviously the decade that movie takes place, and the role that she plays and how she looks, it totally makes sense
Yeah.
that she would be in that movie. Honestly, if they were to redo a female, like change the gender, I guess.
Maybe she is going to be the running woman.
Well, Glenn Powell is the lead role.
Oh, well, maybe there's two of them. Well, there's two of them.
Yeah,
right?
there's two of them.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I mean, she does fit that role as well. And I'm excited because I love Running Man. It is.
I wish I could follow you on that one.
It is such a fun, goofy movie.
The guy with the electricity on, I'm just like, he's not even intimidating.
Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero.
What does that mean? Plane Zero.
It doesn't mean anything.
Why did he say it?
It's hilarious. That's why.
I got cast for you. Jacob Elordi is the monster.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac is Dr. Victor Frankenstein. Charles Dance is unnamed. Mia Goth is unnamed.
Oh, okay.
Christoph Waltz is Dr. Pretorius. And
oh,
Ralph
okay.
Ineson is Professor Crimp.
Crimp.
I've never seen these. Oh, David Bradley's in it too, playing Blind Man.
I'm a blind man. I can't see.
What's my motivation? Well, you can't see shit.
Got it.
Got it done.
Say no more. So those are some quick headlines, and then an update sort of on the Joaquin Phoenix Todd Haynes movie that he bailed out of like days before filming.
Yeah.
And essentially
Fucked the entire
scrapped
production.
the entire movie. That's not being made anymore. And this is from the producer Christine Vachon, Vacan? I don't know. Basically, she says that everything that you guys know is what we know about the whole thing.
Really?
And Joaquin Phoenix, I think we played the clip of Joaquin Phoenix addressing or kind of addressing somebody asked at a press conference.
I think it was at Cannes.
Yeah.
They asked him why he did it, and he just said it's not his place to say.
It's not my place to say.
I can't say it
because I'm the only one here from that side, and so you'd only be hearing my side, and they wouldn't be able to say their side of it. And we talked about this earlier and how he walked out of this movie, that he was also helping on the screenplay, helping write it, and pushing Todd Haynes to make it more sexual, make it more this, and it was going to be like an NC-17 movie, and then days before he's like, it's a little too much for me, I think.
What's funny is the James McAvoy says that Joaquin Phoenix was set to play a part in Split.
Yeah.
And he pulled out 2 weeks before as well.
Was he supposed to be James McAvoy's?
I don't know. I don't think he could. He's not buff enough. McAvoy is young and spry, and when he goes beast mode.
He was the beast, right?
Yeah.
He looks fucking hulking in that.
He's crazy.
In Speak No Evil?
Yeah, Speak No Evil.
Remake.
I'm actually looking forward to that because the first one was bleak and depressing.
The end, yeah.
But this, the whole thing is just everyone. You're like, why are they doing that? Just leave. Just say, get out of there.
Yeah.
Don't go back for the rabbit. And then the new one kind of seems like it's more of a popcorn movie.
Well, they did the Hollywood ending.
Oh, do you know?
I don't know what the ending is. I just heard that's what they did.
Okay. Well, I think the whole thing feels
they don't go back.
They go back and kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems more like a popcorn movie. Like there's going to be the uncomfortable stuff, but it's more thrilling and actiony. Where the other one is just somber and depressing the whole time.
I feel like it'd be like if they were to do a Hollywood version of Funny Games that was more accessible for general audiences and wasn't so depressing.
I like Funny Games way more than the original Speak No Evil, though.
Yeah.
Funny Games is fucking fantastic, both versions, which are exactly the same.
But yeah. So yeah, the production was set to begin in Guadalajara, where sets were constructed, and local crew members are allegedly still owed money after this production was canceled. And from the producer, she says, "We as a cultural community lost an opportunity to have another movie by Todd Haynes. That is just criminal." Because he just did December. Is that him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When asked what Haynes will work on next, producer added, "There's a big question mark above his head because I'm not sure if he knows either." And she mentioned that he is 62. He's not old, but there's a finite number of films that he will be able to do in his lifetime. I consider him one of the most extraordinary film artists of his generation. The idea that his time was wasted and that a movie is not a result of those years of working closely with Joaquin, that is a tragedy to me, and that I can't get over.
They're just not going to make the movie?
Yeah.
What?
They're just not doing it.
That's like turning the car around and ruining the vacation just
exactly
because the kids are being noisy in the backseat.
IndieWire sources said financing was based on Phoenix's casting and that the feature would most likely be an NC-17 rated film due to its graphic sexual content. And then the Haynes told IndieWire that Phoenix was pushing me further and going, "No, let's go further," when writing the graphic sex scenes. And what were these scenes that they were like, yeah, let's do this.
You got up close on the frenium.
It's like, did you see a Team America? That.
Team America.
With two dudes. The whole experience was prompted by Joaquin. It was prompted by his daring, his desire to push through barriers and to really get into the uncomfortable places about this relationship, and yet it felt like a very organic process. And then it's Phoenix's quote when he was promoting Joker. "If I do explain why I left, I'll just be sharing my opinion from my perspective, and the other creatives aren't here to say their piece. And it just doesn't feel like that would be right. I'm not sure how that would be helpful. I don't think I will answer that question." So yeah, so
that's crazy. He's going to be sued.
Not
for sure.
happening. Meanwhile, Joker 2 has been released.
Folia 2.
Folia 2, like Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah.
To mostly seemingly negative criticism. It's got a lower cinema score than Madam Web, I think.
Yeah, it is.
For a sequel that it was like the first rated R movie to get $1 billion or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And then to follow it up with this, and then there's like so many different theories about like this movie was made to tarnish the legacy of the first one,
Purposely fail.
and it's like, so you made a bad movie on purpose, or did you make a movie that you think is supposed to be above everybody's intelligence level or something? Like, was that the intention?
So here's kind of one of the biggest takeaways, the consensus that I've seen thrown about. You know, the first Matrix movie was an unabashed classic banger. Like, it's really hard to argue that that's not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's got amazing shot composition and cinematography. The story is compelling. It's self-contained. You can end it right there.
Yeah.
The second and third, and then ultimate, I'll take the fourth one out of it, but the second and third ones just feel like almost like a, not quite straight to TV, but when you're looking at how the quality of the original Matrix to Reloaded and Revolutions, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Reloaded and Revolutions. The drop off in quality is huge. And a lot of people say that that's because the Wachowskis stole a lot of the inspiration and actual physical set composite, or like shot composition, set pieces and ideas and characters from multiple really well-known like anime sources.
Makes sense.
So they'll take like a single frame or a single like panel from a comic book, and then they'll frame a scene about that. And a lot of it, even like I have no mouth, but I must scream. It's a short story. And it's like,
oh, really?
That plus there's an actual image of somebody's mouth fusing shut as they're in an interrogation room. And it's like, there's a lot of like stuff they pulled from. So it kind of like they already had the proof of concept in other people's work, and they made this amazing movie with it.
Yeah.
People are saying that's how Joker was. Todd Phillips basically just ripped off Scorsese. They mashed up Taxi Driver and King of Comedy and had this fantastic movie that people love because the vibe is real similar, and it's a notable character. Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. And they ran out of steam, and now they have this. They're trying to do something different, and he's trying to do something original, and it's Todd Phillips versus Scorsese. You know, there's no homage being paid. It's like his own thing.
The guy did The Hangover.
Yeah. So one of my favorite reviews that I've read posted around a bunch, it says, this is like Joker 2, Folly I'll Do. This is like when one mediocre kid somehow gets 100 on a test, but everyone knew it was just because he copied the actual smart kid. Then the smart kid changed seats, so he went down to a 0.5% on the next test because he couldn't rip off anyone anymore. All this to say, this was fucking trash. That's the one of the highest rated reviews on Letterboxd.
Can it be that bad? And like, no one will dive deeper into why it's bad.
Apparently the music's not good. The music doesn't compel any of the story forward. It's just there for no reason. The singing is terrible, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm still gonna go see it.
Yeah.
But all I know is this: Jack doesn't like it, or Jack loves it. I mean,
And what does that mean?
I don't know.
I
don't know, Jack. What do you think?
If it's a good movie, Jack hates it.
I'm busting Jack's balls.
I feel like that's more of a Tyler thing. If it's a good movie, he hates it.
I don't know about that. Maybe sometimes.
I read his TipToes review. It doesn't really. It's not consistent.
No, it's fine. So yeah.
But yeah, Joker 2.
That's getting trashed.
So is Megalopolis, and I feel like Megalopolis is more of a mixed bag of reviews of like, this is garbage, or versus like, this is a cinematic experience you have to have.
Yeah.
And from one of the quote unquote great directors who did movies like Jack.
Yeah.
And Masterpiece.
Rumblefish.
Yeah. And that'd be so funny if that was in the trailer from the director of Jack.
Yeah.
That would be so funny. And this is like a self-funded movie, even though he's kind of a sketchy person, IRL. And during the making of this movie,
I like what's happening after the movie's out and just the amount of discourse is there.
it's insane that it's out.
Yeah.
The fact that it has been in financial production hell for so long. We've talked about it many times on the.
No one wanted to distribute it.
Yeah. And like, it was premiered, no one wanted to pick it up, and then it finally got distribution, and now it's out for anybody to go watch.
And Francis Coppola himself did a Ask Me Anything on Twitter. He said, "Ask me anything in the comments."
Yeah.
And
He's manning the Twitter. For the Megalopolis.
I don't know if like the entire Twitter account is from him, but he definitely logs in and he says specifically, "This is Francis. I'm answering questions. Ask me what questions you have." And the questions are like, Aubrey Plaza's character's name is Wow Platinum.
Okay.
That's her character's name. And someone asked, Mr. Coppola, why? What was your inspiration from that crazy name, Wow Platinum? And he said, I met a fan who told me how beautiful her grandmother was, and she sent me an old portrait of her from like the early 1900s. And when I saw it, I said, "Wow,
Platinum."
It's like it's as simple as that.
I said, "Wow."
Yeah. Why'd you put the bow and arrow? What was the inspiration behind the bow and arrow scene?
No, I thought it would be surprising.
Surprise the person with a bow and arrow.
Yeah. It's like it's really that simple. I don't know. Wait, what are you guys not getting? I thought it was fun. This is his actual response. The question was, what was the inspiration behind the scene with the bow and arrow? And his response, I thought it was funny, surprising them with a hidden arrow that way.
There you go.
Simple as that, Jack. Simple Jack.
Well, it's like when when you're in English class in high school and they're trying to like get you to read into what the hidden message is behind the author. And you're extrapolating all this, oh yeah, those curtains were blue. It was like a symbol of rebirth or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you talk to the actual author and they're like, oh, were the curtains blue? I don't remember.
Oh. I mean, my curtains were blue and it was right in front of me. That's why I wrote it.
I was writing in my den and the curtains are blue. So it's like, it can be that easy.
It's like those like classes, like college classes where the professor asks a question like, what is a book? And then someone responds with like, a book is life. A book is this. And they answer philosophically. Mm-hmm. And then the professor goes, I was looking for it is a commodity. But yeah, I'm excited to go see these movies. I'm not excited for the runtime of Megalopolis.
Yeah.
But, and what I might experience that might make it feel longer.
I don't know. Oh, the interactive?
I mean,
that ain't happening anywhere near us.
I'm curious about that.
No
and
way.
how does that play in a movie that doesn't do that? Is that just like a cut out of that version of the movie? I don't know. After watching TipToes, which was only like an hour and 40 minutes, I was like, I felt like that movie was over many times.
Yeah.
And then it just kept on going. But yeah, it's the flop era of movies is back with movies this big.
Yeah,
like Joker 2 and Megalopolis. Those are only two.
That's it.
Big movies that have
big budget flops. Imagine the highest grossing, one of the highest grossing comic book movies of all time, the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time at the time when it was released. 4 years later, the sequel comes out with the same cast, with the A-list celebrity added to it, Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
With the same director, and the crowds are fucking empty.
I know. No one's going to go see it.
Tweeting out pictures of empty theaters at their screenings.
I know.
On opening weekend.
It makes me excited to go see it because nobody will be there.
I know. Me too. It's great. We could go together. We could sit across completely opposite sides of the theater.
I know. See whatever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for Gab Chatter. Let's get on to some stream picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick?
Stream picks, movies that we watched at home on our streaming services that we will either recommend or not recommend that you watch. Pete.
All right, so I have a first off, since Tyler's not here, I'm going to. I'm going to read. He actually. So Tyler came through. Okay, we have a review for TipToes, which we'll read later. And Joseph Bridges in the chat pointed that out. He did the assignment. He just couldn't be here today.
Yes.
But he also has a review for his punishment movie, American Mary.
His punishment was because he was late.
Because he was late to class yesterday or last week. And didn't tell us until it's like the last second. Okay, so American Mary. This is a review from Tyler from 2012. He gave it 2.5 stars with a heart. This film presents very intriguing ideas. Med student who is presumably at the top of her class delves into the world of illegal surgery and body modifications. However, the execution was botched. The main actor
like surgery.
Yeah.
Good job, Tyler.
The main actor did very well in the first half, but as she descends into her crazy self, it felt forced to get to the finish line. It's weird that she was the only good performance, but the story just falls apart really quickly. They squandered a great premise, and Crimes Against the Future perfected the underground surgery thing. I would grade this movie a C+, end of report. 2.5 stars with a heart.
He said I would.
Yep, I would grade this movie a C+, end of report. I'm reading verbatim.
I would grade this movie a C+.
But what did you actually grade? I'm just fucking with you, Tyler. So yeah, there it was. I don't remember who put the American Mary on the wheel, but
yeah, I don't remember either.
yeah, we don't have names next to them. Maybe next time we do punishments, we start adding
The only thing that we have that has a name associated with it is
JB's his whole list.
as Bridge Boy.
Yeah, Bridge Boy. Okay, cool. So on to my streaming picks. I'm going worst to first this time.
All right.
All right. First up. This is streaming for free on Hoopla if you have a library card. This is called The Thicket, a new movie from 2024. It was a movie that I can't remember where I got recommended this, but I saw it pop up and I'm like, I don't know anything about this movie. It's starring Peter Dinklage and Juliette Lewis, Levon Thurman Hawke, which is Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's son.
Oh,
not Maya Hawke.
Another child.
Yes. Did you see Blink Twice?
No.
Okay. So he's in Blink Twice as well in a really small part. Leslie Grace, Gabenga Akinagbe, Esme Creed Miles, Macon Blair for a small part, James Hetfield from Metallica.
What the fuck?
Yeah, from Metallica. And David Midthunder, who's Amber Midthunder's father, star of Prey.
Someone's last name was Creed Miles.
Yeah, hyphen. Esme Creed Miles.
Creed.
Yeah,
like the band.
Like the band.
And Miles, like the Spider-Man.
Miles, like kilometers, but miles.
Oh, yeah, like Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
I thought it was Miles with a Y.
Is it? No, it's not.
I don't know. I don't
Miles.
Yeah, I don't know. So, anyways, this is streaming on Hoopla. I think you can actually still see it in certain theaters for free, or it was streaming on Hoopla for free. But you can also rent it on Apple TV, Amazon, and whatnot for like $10. And it's a Western. It's a period piece. So Peter Dinklage plays a sort of a bounty hunter. Yeah, okay. Dinklage again. So that synopsis says, West Texas, a boy who, after his sister is kidnapped by a violent killer known only as Cutthroat Bill, enlists a fierce bounty hunter named Reginald Jones, who becomes the leader of the group of outcasts searching for the stolen girl. So it's a brother and sister. They're late teens, maybe something like that, and they're traveling across the country to go to their new land. Their father and mother died in a plague or something, and they're being taken to their birthright, their plot of land on a different part of the country by their uncle. And on their way, Juliette Lewis plays this basically, what's her name from The Hateful Eight, Jennifer Jason Leigh's character.
Oh, okay.
She's basically a version of that, but not nearly as good. Jennifer Jason Leigh does a great scumbag piece of shit outlaw. And this Juliette Lewis is putting on a real kind of strange gravelly voice that doesn't quite work.
Yeah,
but she calls herself Cutthroat Bill. She's got her throat slashed end to end, so she's got this huge scar across her nose.
Like Lawless.
Yeah, pretty much. Or what's it called? Aldo the Apache from Inglourious Bastards. So I can understand the voice. It's a choice. I don't think it quite works really well. But she kidnaps the daughter, or sister, whatever you want to call her, and her band of miscreants, they're taking her to the homeland, and they're going to claim their plot of land. She's got the papers with her saying that we own this land, and they're going to essentially take the land from her because it's worth a ton of money. And it's Dinklage and his little band of merry men and Ethan Hawke's son, and they go across the country to basically chase them down. There's some interesting shots in this movie. The shot composition's pretty good for the most part, but I can't really super strongly recommend this. It's definitely a missable movie.
Okay.
It's like generous 3 stars, and that's basically because of the actual cinematography. So I think that the production value is good, the costume's great. There's some interesting camera work choices there, but the script just really isn't good. When people die in the movie, it's super unceremonious and just comes and goes, and you're like, is that person actually dead or is that a fake? And then you move on and you just never see him again. You're like, I like that guy. What the heck? You didn't get any, no pomp and circumstance, no weight to the death or whatever. So I don't know. It was based off of a book, and I don't know. Maybe they were just being true to the source material, but it just didn't feel super cinematic to me. So that's A Thicket from 2024. My next up is a classic that's 75 years old as of this month. And this is The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad streaming on Disney+.
Oh, Mr. Toad.
I was watching this, and I know I've seen this a few times from my childhood. Hey, Bruce is in the chat. Hey, Bruce. What's up, buddy?
Welcome.
Gang's all here. We got Angry Otter, Big Red Dal, Bruce, and Joseph Bridges in the chat. So I've watched The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad a million times when I was a kid. I don't remember the format of it, but it's basically 2 stories. The Adventures of Mr. Toad and The Adventures of Ichabod Crane. 2 separate stories.
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, it's basically Sleepy Hollow. And I watched it. I put it on because I was like, ooh, I want to get in the Halloween spirit. I want to watch the original Sleepy Hollow cartoon, whatever. And the first half of this thing is just Mr. Toad, the story of Mr. Toad and his friends. And I'm watching it. I'm like, get to the Sleepy Hollow. What's happening? So I fast forwarded through that. And I'm like, okay, I have enough of Mr. Toad. And the second half is Ichabod. And the worst part about this is the voice acting, because it's like everybody sounds like Bing Crosby.
Oh.
They got this tall, goofy bastard who's Ichabod, and his voice sounds exactly like the narrator, who is this very smooth, dulcet tones of a Bing Crosby sounding guy. Very 1940s, because this is 1949 when this came out. And, but man, when it gets to the Headless Horseman and they're in the spooky woods and the horseman is chasing after him, yeah, that's dynamite shit. That's some really great animation there. Terrifying. The cape waving in the wind as he's running by. It's so good. So yeah, Angry Otter says the Ichabod Crane portion's awesome if you're 8 years old. Come on.
At heart.
Maybe at heart. Yeah, that's right. So anyways, it's worth a watch. It's only an hour long for the whole thing. If you skip through the Toad stuff, you're getting a 30-minute short, basically, of Ichabod Crane.
So the Toad stuff isn't good?
It's all right. Is
it wild? Is
no,
it crazy?
It's not. No, it's I skipped through it.
Oh, okay.
I watched 5 minutes of it, and I'm like, where's
Ichabod?
Because
Because the ride in Disneyland is fucking insane.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. You go to hell on that ride.
Maybe I shouldn't skip that. I don't think it's all that. I think I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe someone can comment on the first half, because I skipped the first half. So that's streaming on Disney+. Let me see if it's streaming anywhere else. I don't think that's probably the only place, I imagine. Usually a lot of stuff, if it's on Disney, it's on Hulu as well. Okay, next up, Salem's Lot from 2024, streaming on HBO Max right now.
The remake.
Yes, it's a remake.
Have you seen the original?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
No.
Me either.
There's original from the 70s, and then there's a 2003 version. It's like a 2-part, hour and a half each part. Like the It series.
Hour and a half each
Yeah.
part?
Each part.
Like a TV?
It's like It,
Yeah.
2 movies, And that one, let's see.
I know there's
Rob Lowe.
is that Return to Salem's Lot? There's a Return to Salem's Lot movie.
I don't think that's it. Let's see here. Salem's Lot. Let's look at all the versions of it.
The miniseries with Rob Lowe is great, says Angry Otter.
Yeah, 2004 miniseries, and it's not Return. It's just called Salem's Lot.
Oh, okay.
Starring Rob Lowe and Andrew Brower, who plays Lieutenant Holt in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who died a couple years back.
Yeah.
Great guy. Love him. And Donald Sutherland's in it. Samantha Mathis is in it. Rutger Hauer is in it.
Oh.
Yeah. Stacked cast. But that's a 2004 version. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the 2024 version.
It just came out.
And it's pretty good. It's fine. It's undeniably a TV movie, though.
It's a vampire story, right?
Yeah, it's a vampire story. And it's getting really bad reviews.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like a movie.
That's what I got from the trailer of it.
Yeah, it looks
Looks like a TV show.
Yeah, it looks like a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like green screen and kind of that kind of.
Well, they're paying homage to the 70s effects.
So, you know how Dr. Sleep, there's some scenes in it that really have that super soft edges and super.
The Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, the Mike Flanagan
softness.
look.
Yeah.
It's like, so if you take a very cinematic movie, like something like a Denis Villeneuve modern movie, and then you take a Mike Flanagan movie, and then you go one step down, you get Salem's Lot.
Okay.
Because it's even more soft edge. It's even more rounded corners. It really is like a TV movie. So if you can get past that, it's fine. And for the most part, the acting was pretty good. There's a couple of characters that are definitely phoning it in, and like one child actor who, before he turns to a vampire, is not good.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of like standout performances that I really liked. My review says it's an undeniable TV movie sheen to it, but there's no shortage of creative and inspired shots. The vampires are actually creepy. You could do a whole hell of a lot worse. So I gave it 3.5 stars. Looking back at it now, it's probably closer to like 3, like a low 3. But it's fun. If you like vampires, it's great to get more vampire stuff. And the head vampire looks like the Nosferatu Max Schreck style with the white head and the long fingernails and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that. So that's from 2024. It's streaming on HBO Max. My next up would probably be my number 1 of the week, but I have a surprising new release that I'll talk about next. And this was one that I didn't expect a whole lot from 1999, starring Mel Gibson. This is Payback. You ever seen this one?
I've heard of it.
Oh man, this is fun. This is a really fun movie. Streaming on Amazon Prime, Hoopla, Peacock, Pluto, Roku, Tubi, and VIX.
VIX?
VIX, that's a new one.
Like ice cream?
VIX.
Or Vicks, like the Vapor Rub?
Yeah, like the Vapor Rub. VIX is what it is. So Payback is starring Mel Gibson. And I'll read the synopsis here. It says, with friends like these, who needs enemies? That's the question that bad guy Porter is left asking after his wife and partner steal his heist money and leave him for dead. Or so they think. 5 months and an endless reservoir of bitterness later, Porter's partners and the crooked cops on his tail learn how bad payback can be.
Oh.
So this is starring Mel Gibson, Greg Henry, Maria Bello, David Paymer, Bill Duke, John Glover, William Devane, Lucy Liu, Chris Christopherson, Jack Connolly, and Mark Alpha.
Lucy Liu?
Lucy Liu's in this, and she plays a dominatrix. She is scantily clad the entire movie.
Oh.
This is probably the hottest she's ever been I've seen in a movie. And this is probably the coolest that Mel Gibson's ever been.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it rivals. It's a different character than his character from Martin Riggs from Lethal Weapon.
Is it Martin Riggs?
I think so.
I guess I just know him as Riggs.
Yeah.
I don't know his first name.
Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yeah.
So he's like more goofy and charming and charismatic in Lethal Weapon, and also like unhinged. But in Payback, he's just super fucking cool. He's like got his wits about him. He's very well prepared, and he's on this vendetta mission to get what's owed to him. And if you're going on a mission in a movie, Joseph, and you see the main guy, and he's a bad guy, but he's the hero bad guy, right? He's like our protagonist. Okay, so he's like a crook, and he got double crossed by one of his other crook friends, and they stole their money. He's gonna go risk his life and risk the lives of loved ones that he has to use as leverage to get to these criminals and the higher ups in the organization, this huge New York syndicate, to get his money back. He's going to kill countless people, probably 12 people in this throughout the course of this.
Okay.
And this is played for realism for the most part. It's not like a John Wick fantastical shoot 'em up. There's a billion deaths. It's like,
is it like a comedy?
It's a clever
kind of
comedy drama. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see what the genres say.
It's like a little more serious.
Drama, crime, action. It is more serious, but there's some levity to it.
Okay.
So what kind of money do you think he's going after? How much?
that his wife and his wife would leave him for dead for?
Yeah, they killed him over his split of the take and killed him and took the money. Now he's coming back to get that money. How much do you think?
Shit, it'd have to be, I don't know, like
in a movie,
$5 million?
Yeah, something like that. It's like a big number, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to risk it all for that. It's 70,000.
70,000.
He's going after him for 70,000.
A down payment on a house?
Yeah. and the funny thing is the whole take was it was like 70,000 wrapped up with some other money and ended up being 130.
Oh, okay.
He's not owed 130. He's owed 70. That's what was taken from him. But everybody who's like, all right, how much is it going to take to get you off our tail? And he's like, I just need what's owed to me, 70,000. He goes, oh, you mean there's 130 right here? Fine, it's yours. And he's like, it's 70,000. Just give me my 70,000 and I'll disappear. And they're like, you're doing all this for 70? My suits cost more than that. You must be one crazy son of a bitch. And he's like, just pay me the 70,000, then I'll go away. And he's like, you can suck my dick, and he kills the guy, you know? And you're like, just pay him. Everybody's talking about how low the amount is.
That's like,
but they won't pay him.
It's like Matt Damon's character in the new with Casey Affleck.
Instigators.
Like he just wants that specific amount of money.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
Angry Otter says, payback's all right, but the next 3 days is better. I don't know anything about that. Can you tell us more about that in the chat?
I've heard about
Otter? I don't know. I've never heard of that. So anyways, this is a super fun movie. I really, really, really had a good time with this. And it's like every scene, you know how in like Ocean's 11, they're so clever. They're like always ahead of the game.
Oh, like in like not the dialogue, but their thinking.
They're thinking, yeah.
Okay.
And like their plan is already laid out, and you know, once people figure out what they're doing, they're already like 3 steps ahead, and they're already out of Vegas.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, that was really good. Every scene is like this, and every little scene is just like a little vignette into what he has to do to get his $70,000 back. So really, really fun movie. I thought it was a great time.
Where's that streaming?
Everywhere.
Everywhere? Oh, you said Prime, I think?
Let me see here. I'll double check. Yeah, Prime, Hoopla, Peacock, Pluto, Roku, Tubi, and VIX.
Okay.
Bruce in the chat says, Payback is a later version of a 60s flick called Point Blank, I think. Cool.
Point Blank?
Point
I get
Blank.
that mixed up with Point Break.
Yeah, Point Blank was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is Payback from 1999. And then my number one recommendation for the week is a new Netflix movie called It's What's Inside. And this is bodies for people that like Primer or vice versa.
For people that like Primer.
Yeah. By the end of this, I'm
Like a whodunit type of thing?
kind of. It's a mystery unraveling
I saw the trailer for it.
of
So.
and I don't know what the trailer says. What does the trailer say? You kinda
It seems like there's body swapping going on.
yeah, that's all that I'll really if the trailer says
like
that.
Possessor or something.
Yeah. So these friends all get together. There's 8 friends. They get together in this mansion, just like Bodies. And they're playing a game, just like that movie.
Yeah.
And they're all close frenemies. Like some of
Yeah, okay.
you know, like some of them are actually friends, and the other ones are very two-faced. And they're getting back together because one of the friends in the group is getting married the next day, and they're getting married at his rich mom. She's a famous artist, and the house was given to him when she died like 9 years ago. So he's still living in this crazy house with all these wild, elaborate art pieces, and all the rooms have these crazy conceptual designs to them, which makes for a really fun set. They're walking through the house, and like one hallway might be the entire ceiling is covered in foil, like crushed up foil, like a river, and it leads you down into a room that is a circular room full of mirrors, and there's like a bench to sit on in the middle, but it's all mirrors too. So going into that room is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's like a very gothic Victorian sort of house. So, things are falling apart, which leans to some of the, plot development points. And you are basically introduced to these 8 characters, and they all have very distinct personalities. So at some point, they play a game and they physically swap their minds into each other's bodies.
Right.
That's the whole concept. I went into it knowing nothing, so that was kind of a surprise. But if the trailer says it, I'll at least talk about that now because it makes it a lot easier to talk about the movie. There's really great editing, some flashback storytelling where they have like static images, like sepia static images of this party, and 3 or 4 people are talking over what happened at the party, which drove 2 of the friends apart. And the different versions of the story, which have evolved over the last like 8 years or whatever, are being constantly edited as they're saying it, and it's like very, very fast cuts, very, very quick, and the effect is really good. The writer-director's name is Greg Jardin or Jardin. It's Jardin. I don't know if that's Spanish pronunciation, which is Jardin, which is like for garden, or if it's Jardin. But he wrote and directed it and also edited it and did a lot of the special effects.
Wow.
So the vision is very singular. Like I can imagine as he's writing it, he's like, it's got to look just like this, and it's got to have this cut and this edit. And when one of the brains or minds of somebody is in another body, the game is that they have to guess who's in whose body.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So they take Polaroids of all 8 of them, and they write the name of the actual person on the Polaroid. It's like, this is Ruben, and this is Jennifer, and this is whoever. And as you're reacting, someone's like, oh, a spider. And the person who's scared of spiders jumps up, but they're in a different body. And they're like, oh,
and they have that person's voice, I assume.
They have the voices and the bodies all the same.
Yeah.
It's just the mind.
Okay.
And so they're like, oh, that's Sylvia. Sylvia's scared of spiders. So they take the picture of Sylvia and they pin it to the person's chest. But it's the body of Jennifer.
Oh, interesting.
So as an audience member, you get to see who's actually in the body because the Polaroid is pinned to their chest.
So all these actors are acting like each other's characters.
Yes. And it's very impressive.
Yeah. It looked like a wild concept.
It's fucking. And the thing is, if you're making a movie this complicated, I mean, it would be hard enough with like 5 or 6 characters all swapping, but there's 8 of them.
Yeah.
And there's technically more than just that because there's other characters that are talked about but are never on screen. Like you never see the wife of the wedding that's going to be the next day. You know, there's one of the guy's sisters they talk about. This is inciting incident. So there's like a lot of moving pieces. And there's only like 1 or 2 times that I thought, I can't tell who that person is. The actor who's acting like the other actor is not quite selling it enough to me. So I was kind of questioning who was in the body, but I think that's the point.
Yeah.
So as the story gets further and further in, and it gets way more convoluted, and then they start lying about who's in the bodies. So they're like, oh, that must be Justin. And then Justin's in someone else's body. And everyone's like, oh, you're Justin. They pin Justin's picture to this shirt. And he's like, I'm Justin. Well, who the fuck is that then? Is there of my mind in 2 bodies? Or is somebody else pretending to be me in this guy's body? So you know how Primer gets very convoluted in that sense where you're like, what timeline are we in?
Yeah.
And how far back are we going? And who's got the machine running the longest?
Yeah.
All those questions that happen as Primer goes on are similar to this. And it's done so well. And the filmmakers have a choice to either slow down and make it easy for the audience to understand or just go, and they just go. So there's not a whole lot of hand-holding. You know, it tells you everything you need to know in the moment. And one of the cool editing kind of recurring editing techniques that you see is they have the regular lighting, and then at some point 2 characters will be talking to each other, and you're like, who's in that body again? And then all the back lighting goes black, and the front lighting of the characters go bright red, and it goes to their actual people inside. And you can hear like a double voice of the 2 characters talking over each other.
Yeah, they put that in the trailer too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And then as the story goes on, it'll cut and 2 people are talking that you think are these 2 people. And then it shows the red lighting, and you're like, oh, that guy's not who he said he was.
Interesting.
He's lying to her, and you didn't know that up until that point or whatever. So this is one that, like, as soon as it ended, I was like, I want to start this over again.
So is there like a nefarious sort of plot in there?
One of the characters has a vendetta because that party that happened, you know, somebody was kicked out of school and someone was put in a mental institution, and they haven't seen each other in 8 years.
So there's a little bit more at stake.
Than
just them freaking out over who they are.
Yeah. So this whole genre of like one night in a house playing a game is pretty fun because Bodies does it. It's What's Inside. This movie does it. There's a small movie that came out a little while ago called Gatlop, Hell of a Game. I talked about it really early on in the show. It was a screener we got, and that was really fun.
Ready or Not.
Ready or Not is another one. I'm trying to think if there's any other good ones.
Your Next, kind of.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. Like Cat
More
and Mouse.
just a home invasion.
That's a home invasion.
Not a game, but.
But yeah, there's The Blackening. That's another one. That was actually pretty fun. So yeah, it was a really cool concept, but it's like sci-fi, very funny, hilarious, and the main guy in it, James Morosini, he wrote and directed a movie with Patton Oswalt called I Love My Dad from like last year that was based off of his own life where his dad catfished him to become close to him.
Oh, okay.
And Patton Oswalt plays the guy's dad, and he like poses as this girl and is like sexting him and stuff like that,
Ew.
so that he can talk to his son because his son doesn't want to talk to him.
Oh, I see.
And you can imagine it goes off the rails.
Yeah, yeah.
And I noticed him when that movie came out, and I'm like, this is a really well-made movie, and it's way more funny than I thought it was going to be. And the acting from James Morosini was really good. And in this movie, he's like a Jim Cummings light. It's like a teenage Jim Cummings or a 20-year-old Jim Cummings.
Okay.
He's really, really funny, and he does that like bumbling, stepping on his own feet thing really, really well. So I can't say enough about this movie. It's streaming on Netflix. It's What's Inside. That's what it's called.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all I got. Oh, and Strange Darling is now available for rent.
Yeah.
I would say everybody should go watch it, except for listener Steven, because he watched it and hated it.
Steven?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He says he doesn't like Willa Fitzgerald. So she was already immediately draining on him.
She's the main.
She's the main girl. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have no bad movies. All 3 stars and up. I'll start from, I guess, the lowest 3-star movie. That would be streaming on, where did I watch it? Prime? Where are you streaming? Hulu. Caught up with Hustlers.
Oh, cool.
J-Lo and, what's her name? The main character. Constance Wu, Julia Stiles, Keke Palmer, Cardi B for a little bit, and Lizzo for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And this is based on a true story about a stripper who is basically just exploiting these rich Wall Street type people, and just getting money out of them, drugging them, and then just so that they could make money in lieu of or because of the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah.
Which then stopped the rich people from going to the strip clubs.
It affected the strippers the most.
Yeah.
They're the real victims.
They were the ones who suffered the most. And this is kind of like it's like kind of like a comedy. I guess like The Big Short is also kind of like a comedy, but it's like it's like drama as well.
Yeah.
And sort of a thriller because of what they're doing and how they're doing it. And Constance Wu plays the main character who becomes a stripper to help pay for help support her grandma, and because her mom left her when she was a young kid and just left her with her grandma. And so she's been trying to just support her grandma, and the way she found the best way that she could find doing that is through stripping. And she meets J-Lo, who's like this at the time very popular dancer in this club, and then she takes Constance Wu's character under her wing and teaches her like moves and how to be a hustler and get the most out of like a performance or something.
Extract the most money from the guys too.
Yeah. And then eventually that goes down a road of committing illegal activities involving drugging your clients.
And how.
Yeah. And other things. And it's mostly good. It's a pretty good, compelling story, I think. And it was worth my time. It's definitely worth a watch, I think. It didn't leave a huge impact on me, but it was engaging.
I thought J-Lo did dynamite in her perforance.
Yeah,
and she still looked fantastic for what?
I know she was almost bearing it all.
I know she was like 55, I think, when she filmed that too.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. So that's streaming on Hulu. I also caught up with Blue Ruin.
You never seen?
Nope.
Oh, cool.
Jeremy Saulnier's early movie, 2013, starring Macon Blair, right?
Yep.
Macon Blair as the main character, and this is streaming on Tubi and Pluto. And basically a revenge story that stars just like a average dude who knows essentially nothing
yeah.
about how to operate guns or commit crime, basically. And the reason why he's after revenge for this against this one person specifically is because his parents were allegedly killed by this person, and this person has just been released from prison, and now Macon Blair's character is after.
He's gonna go get revenge.
He's gonna get revenge, and he is just kind of clumsily getting his way to that point. He steals a gun from a store that still has the lock on the trigger, and there's a whole scene of him trying to break the lock.
Does he steal it from that truck outside the bar?
Yeah, he steals the truck, I think, and then the gun is in there.
Yeah, and he can't get the lock off.
And he's like hitting it with a crowbar, breaks the gun.
Yeah. I love how incompetent he is.
And but he fumbles his way through it somehow, and then he eventually does. Spoiler alert! And it happens kind of early in the movie. He does achieve his goal in one way, but then he puts the rest of his family at risk. That he's just now becoming close with again after he vanished after the I think guilty verdict after the guilty verdict or something like that.
Yeah, it was
No, because he went to prison.
He went to prison, but not for killing his parents, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it was. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's just like a revenge story set sort of in the real world and not like in a John Wick world. Second John Wick reference today. It's not fantastical. It's not over dramatic or anything like that. It's just this guy, this average dude, Macon Blair, future lawyer of J. Robert Oppenheimer, and and he's just out for revenge. And I will say that Saulnier, it's like a wine.
I know.
Sommelier. The tone of this movie and like his newest movie, Rebel Ridge, there's like something about them that make them very similar. Yeah. It's like they're not the same plot. It's kind of like a revenge story in Rebel Ridge in a way, not nearly as like, I guess the act of revenge or the reason for revenge is a lot different. But they just have like this sort of like, it's like it takes place in the South. It's like a Southern look to it. I don't know what it is. They both have a similar tone and look to these movies. And Blue Ruin is a much, I think, lower budget. It was shot on like an old Canon C300, which I think you can pick up for like less than $1,000 now, maybe.
Really?
I think. But because I was watching it, I was like, this looks like it was shot on a T2i. There are some shots in it. I was like, this looks like it was shot on a DSLR.
I think that the Blue Ruin has like a relatable sadness.
Yeah.
In it, and it feels almost like hyper realistic or a stylized realism.
Yeah.
It just seems very mellow in the low light and a lot of outdoor stuff with like natural lighting.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it, the natural lighting.
Yeah. So that's streaming on Pluto and Tubi. Watch that.
What do you think you'd give that? Stars wise, or
it's I gave that like a 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like it a little bit more. Pretty damn good.
I mean, Green Room and Rebel Ridge are just so much more entertaining.
That's 100% accurate. Green Room is like fucking nonstop.
The Blue Room, I mean, it's still really good.
Yeah.
I watched Signs for the first time in a long time.
Oh,
I've seen it before.
Jesus, really?
I've seen Scary Movie 3 more than I've seen Signs, though.
No description.
Directed by, obviously, M. Night Shyamalan, starring Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, a young Rory Culkin, and an even younger Abigail Breslin before Little Miss Sunshine.
Gibson and Phoenix are getting a lot of play on this episode.
I know. And after, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I only remember, most of the movie that I remember is because of Scary Movie 3.
Yeah.
And watching it, there is some ridiculous dialogue in this movie.
Like what?
As with like The Happening, and honestly, it feels like The Happening and Signs are almost of the same quality of movie.
What? No way.
Maybe not. Like Signs is probably like a better movie.
Okay.
But The Happening has very similar tones and character choices, or directing choices, I should say.
Okay.
And in writing choices. Because there's a line in this movie when Joaquin Phoenix is at like some office talking to a general, or is he talking? He's like talking to
like a recruiter,
like a military guy.
Yeah, he's in a recruiting office,
and he says this line that is so funny to me.
Okay.
Did
you write it down?
I did write it down, but it's gonna take me a second to find it. But Dallas, I think rewatched it recently as well, and I like commented on it and was talking about like it feels like the writing, some of the dialogue like that is like bad on purpose. And the line is something like, because Joaquin Phoenix's character is like a former famous minor league baseball who like set a record for like the longest home run.
Yeah.
Something like that. And the military guy's like, hey, you're that guy. Why didn't you didn't go to the pros and make stacks of cash and have beautiful women licking your feet?
What the fuck?
That's the line. That's like almost this paraphrasing.
We don't talk about that.
But that's basically the line. And Dallas just said in the chat when they're running outside to scare the intruders, and they're like bickering of like, what should I say? He's like, you should just curse and yell and just make noises. He's like, curse? I don't want to curse.
Yeah.
And
he's a pastor.
And he just a former priest.
Whatever.
And he just goes, he just runs outside and he goes, I'm insane with anger.
I love it.
And it's comical. It's very comical. And the entire family of Mel Gibson's family, I feel like they are also aliens. Because the way their dialogue and the way they act and Rory Culkin's performance and how he sort of commands like his father to do stuff. He's like giving his father facts on aliens. And like there's that scene when he's in their bedroom with both of them, with Abigail Breslin and Rory Culkin. And he has that book. He's like, I got this book and that about this guy who's talking about the aliens and did a bunch of research on them. And Mel Gibson like says like a kind of like a joke a little bit, and then Rory Culkin just deadpan, just like he's like, I'm not gonna show you if you're gonna make fun.
I love all the characters in this.
I know it's and the
Ondulate children,
the wife, that whole the reason and how she dies.
Yeah.
Like who comes up with that? Who comes up with that concept and then not expect it to be kind of funny?
It gave us a scary movie 4 though.
Yeah, it gave us that the let me explain the donut and the hot dog. But yes,
Which way was she split? Hot dog style or hamburger style? Can I have a moment with the lower half?
is the bottom half available? Yeah,
Also, she got the giant hat that gets bigger and bigger.
yeah, and that
It's so funny.
and the performances are like sincere. It feels like they are sincere.
What do you think about that dinner scene when he screams at the kids?
Stop crying! Yeah. That's I don't know. There's a level of comedy there, and the same thing with The Happening. There's a moment when Mark Wahlberg and them are in that old lady's house, and
What? No.
yeah.
I know you're taking my lemon drink.
I know. It's like, what is this interaction?
Yeah, I don't know.
Shyamalan is an interesting man.
It's weird because I've heard him in interviews and whatnot, and he has a very like
It's very level-headed.
yeah. He doesn't use like weird like sayings that no one's ever heard of before.
Yeah.
It's not like he's like English as a second language or something like that, you know, because that's what it almost seems like with some of the clunky dialogue. It's like it was translated from a different language.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work.
That's why it seems like they're alien. Like the family are also aliens.
Well, they're Shyamalan characters. That's
I
the same
know.
thing.
It's an entertaining movie, and I enjoyed it.
I'm an apologist for the movie. I love this one. Still not amazing, but
Yeah, the birthday party, like the alien walking by like Sasquatch style, doesn't hit as hard anymore. Not as scary as it once was, but because it's a little dated in the effects.
yeah,
But there are some moments when like the hand reaches out from under the door.
yeah, that's
Kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Or like when the hand is under the coal chimney.
Yeah.
and grabs Rory Culkin.
Realistic depiction of asthma in this movie too.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
not like Goonies.
I fucking hate.
Because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
The Signs is streaming on Max and Hulu. I caught up with Linklater's Hitman, streaming on Netflix.
Oh, that's fine.
With Glenn Powell in the lead role. Not what I was expecting in terms of the story. I thought he was the hitman, like an actual hitman. But I like the way that his character is just kind of like he's a part-time. He works for the police, kind of, but he's also like a philosophy
He's a tech guy.
professor. And the main guy who goes undercover as the hitman to catch people that hire them to kill whoever they want. Basically like a sting, like a setup, entrapment sort of. he goes on suspension, and then he fills in the role of that guy. And the way the story goes was pretty entertaining, I think. Kind of gets himself trapped, and eventually the story turns into like, well, now I'm with somebody who should be in jail.
Yeah.
and then but his coworkers who work for the police don't know that he's actually involved with this person.
He's pretending to be the bad guy in his real life.
Yeah, he's pretending to be the hitman personality with this person. So then she thinks that he is that, but his coworkers don't know that he is seeing this person.
He's canoodling with a suspect or like something like that. Not a suspect, but someone from one of the cases.
Yeah, who he dissuaded from handing over the money and going through with the whole thing. Basically losing that suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, it's a pretty entertaining movie. It was funny moments. Glenn Powell had a hand in the screenplay, and I felt like that kind of showed, because there were some cheesy pie moments in it.
He is cheesy pie.
Yeah, for sure.
I just like the scene with using the notes app to talk.
That was good.
I thought it was really good.
That was good. I like that.
Impressive.
Because he's a smart individual, because he's a teacher, like a professor in a college.
He's a cool professor.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. When did our teacher get hot? That was one of the lines.
I know.
That was pretty cringy. Glenn Powell wrote that one.
I was going to say, that was definitely Powell wrote it.
You know what I think they should say here? These college girls. What? But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was
on Netflix, right?
Yeah, pretty much, kind of like the least Linklater movie.
I agree with that.
Of his Linklater filmography.
It's closer to School of Rock vibe, but with less quality.
Yeah,
like it's just that kind of fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah. So if you're looking for like a before trilogy type of vibe, this is not it at all.
What a range this guy's got, Linklater.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused, School of Rock, other ones.
The before trilogy.
Yeah.
Apollo 11.5.
Did he do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He did another movie with Glenn Powell, actually, that's on Netflix, I think, that I just heard about, and I can't remember the name.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah. And Richie Links.
Yeah.
Cool. Hitman on Netflix. I watched Tremors for the first time, actually.
Cool. That's
streaming on Peacock, and that was a fun, campy, kind of silly movie. The practical effects reminded me of I don't want to say like Beetlejuice, 'cause that's like stop motion, but
yeah,
I guess more like a Jim Henson sort of worm, if Jim Henson made a worm. And it's just kind of like unexplained. They're just there. They're just there in the middle of this desert, attacking these people, and like, so for some reason they're bloodthirsty for these humans.
Yeah, they're hungry.
I know.
That's why the desert is so empty. It's been all the life has been eaten by the graboids.
I don't know. Why'd they go somewhere else?
Because they live in the sand.
I guess so. They did like a predator thing with like the little mouths.
Yeah,
the little mouths, and then the one. There's only one. Was there only one worm, or was there multiple?
No, because the one got killed at the beginning.
Yes, that's right. They kill one. Yes, Kevin Bacon and
Fred Ward.
Fred Ward.
Yeah. Fred Ward.
Oh my goodness. Fred Ward. Finn Carter, Michael Gross, Reba McEntire. She's is in the movie and does the ending credit song.
Also the girl from Jurassic Park in it. Little blonde girl.
Oh, is she in it?
She's the one with the pogo stick.
Oh, yeah.
So there's an argument to be made that this is a perfect script. Everything in the first act is paid off with the graboids in the second and third act.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The noisy refrigerator in the store is what ultimately tips them off.
Mm-hmm.
The kid with the pogo stick, the car that can't make it, that's broken down.
Yeah.
Every character has a little tiny bit at the beginning, and it introduces them all, and then it's all paid off slowly throughout the movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Kind of like Hot Fuzz. Is like
yes, very similar.
Very like Hot Fuzz. Speaking of Strange Darling, I did watch Strange Darling.
Oh, cool.
Last night. And yeah, you can rent this on Prime, I believe.
You can rent it all over the place.
Yeah. And I thought it was pretty good. I will say that it was a little unfulfilling. Yeah. I don't know. There was a lot of hype about it.
I know. I probably overhyped it.
And
Sorry.
And I like the way the story's told, kind of all over the place, going back and forth, because in 6 chapters, and then you start in the middle of the story, and then you go to the end, and then you come back for a little bit, and just kind of jumping around a lot. Sort of like showing new things, and then like how do they get there, and then they go back. Yeah, like, oh, that's how they got there. Yeah. So a lot of editing tricks, which I liked, and performances were all good. And I don't want to say it's not predictable, but I guess I should say I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
On how it went, based on like once you start the movie, and then you get like maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes into it, and you see like how a character is acting versus the other character, and you're like, I feel like it's gonna go this way, and it's more of like the twist or reveal, because there's a couple things.
Yeah.
One is like, because it's about a serial killer, and it's based on like a real serial killer or something. That's what it says.
It's not real life.
It's like it's real.
It's like Fargo, how they say this is based on true events.
Yeah,
but it's not.
And it's more like it's like a reveal or twist from the marketing before you watch the movie, because like you assume one thing about the movie, and then you watch it, and you're like, oh, it's actually this thing. I'm like, oh, okay, so now it's just this, and then another reveal happens later.
Yeah.
And overall, by the end of it, though, I was like, I don't know.
What did we learn?
I was just kind of like, okay. It was just like a little, just kind of fizzle out, I think.
What do you think about the final shot in the truck versus the final shot in the truck for In a Violent Nature? 'Cause they both have ending shots that are kind of similar.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Really?
When I was watching it.
Oh, it's so funny.
In a Violent Nature, because it was just, except minus the rambling from that woman in A Violent Nature. In A Violent Nature. But similar setup, and like the end of the movie is that of Strange Darling.
Yeah.
And it's just like this lingering sort of thing. And then how we get there, I mean, I won't spoil like what is happening in that scene. But I was like, who's this person? And is that, I don't know. It just felt like lackluster. I don't know.
You needed more closure,
I guess. I don't know. It felt like justice wasn't served.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's like.
Did you not like the end of No Country for Old Men either?
The end of that movie. What, with Josh Brolin being killed? Spoiler alert.
And Anton Chigurh getting away.
I mean, no.
And Tommy Lee Jones just saying, "This world ain't made for me." Old man, basically.
This is No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I'm old now, and this ain't no country for me, and I'm a man.
I don't know. I liked that more because that felt more like a final, like a story that came to an end, rather than just like these two characters who barely know each other, and one's just getting trying to get immediate revenge, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It was just like,
yeah, it's fair.
It was just not what I thought it was gonna. It wasn't as thrilling as I thought it was gonna be.
The whole thing for me, I think, going into it not knowing that there was a reveal or anything, I just was like, I've heard this is good. What's his name? Kyle Gallner recommends it. He says everybody should go see it in opening weekend. I went out and saw it in theaters and wasn't expecting how good it looked on 35 millimeter.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, Giovanni Ribisi did his thing. And just kind of being in the theater for the whole experience and being plugged in, I think it was a little bit more impactful once you start hearing the reviews and saying, "Oh, don't listen to any of the spoilers." Your mind is already rewiring what your expectations are. So
yeah, I mean, I knew there was something
that's a detriment in itself.
I knew there was something about it that was gonna happen. Yeah, I just obviously didn't know what. And like obviously the way that she's dressed in the beginning of the movie, it's like, is this like a game? Is it, because it seems like like a what is it? World's Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah, Most Dangerous Game. Yeah,
it's like seems like that kind of situation.
Yeah.
And then like the trailer, I saw the trailer once like a while ago.
Yeah.
I remember some aspects about that, and like, but they're like interacting with each other, but like he's like after her. It's weird.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to think about going into it if you've seen marketing for it that kind of don't give anything away, but it just has you already kind of thinking about it. And obviously it's out, so people are already saying, don't look up anything about this movie. So obviously it's already like, oh, what is it about this movie?
Exactly. Yeah. It's hard to go in fresh to anything once you've heard that, because you're already like, all right, what's the twist? What's the reveal?
So yeah, but it was good. It was still a really good movie. I just was a little let down by the end of it.
I got a review from Steven on that one.
Okay.
He says, yeah, I saw it coming. 2.5 or 2 stars out of 5. It was beautiful, but the breakfast looked amazing.
Oh yeah, that breakfast. I was like, you're just slathering that thing.
I know. My big takeaway from that on a rewatch, because I did rewatch it this week with Brianna, was I think I use a lot of butter when I cook, but I don't use it as much as that guy. The whole stick.
Or syrup.
Oh my
or whipped cream.
Blueberry pie filling.
Yeah. That's nuts.
He says he can't stand the lead. I've seen her in a few things before, but the editing was really sharp. I like that they set him up, blah, 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 blah. Also, so Steven is he's a unabashed drug enthusiast. He's
what does that mean?
He takes shrooms and ketamine and all kinds of goodies.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, it's legal in California, in Canada.
Ketamine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He sent me a picture of like his weed maps delivery.
This is me doing it right now.
Yeah, he's like, because we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna do this and this and this weekend. I got it all planned out, all these different substances. And I'm like, you can get that shit there? And he's like, yeah, deliver it right to my house.
DoorDash it.
It pretty much is like weed maps here. You can get weed delivered in California, but he says ketamine doesn't fuck with you to the state where you're a vegetable for hours.
Oh yeah.
Also, it's the fucking bomb. He says it might if you fall into a K-hole, but the effects of ketamine only last like a half hour or so.
Oh.
So it can make you zone the fuck out, and it messes with your motor skills.
Doesn't like paralyze you.
Yeah, exactly. He said it's possible he took the hit that was really too big, but it would weaken him for sure. I don't know about that level.
Yeah, so. He like anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So.
But yeah. But speaking of movies, like marketing and things that are shown in the world that are for movies that are coming out, I knew nothing about this movie that I saw.
Oh, another one.
In theaters, not streaming anywhere as of yet. This is The Wild Robot.
Oh, cool.
And
I know.
I knew nothing about the plot of this movie. I didn't see a trailer for this movie. I just heard that it was pretty good. And so I went last weekend. I saw it in theaters. Did the Cinema XD experience.
Oh, cool.
Never done it before. Never been in that kind of theater.
What's the difference?
It's just a really big screen.
Oh, okay.
And good sound system. Like speakers everywhere.
I wasn't sure if that's 4DX.
4DX is the like
moving
simulator thing.
Yeah. I saw Godzilla -1 with that.
But The Wild Robot is like by DreamWorks, starring Lupita Nyong'o as the Wild Robot, Pedro Pascal as a fox, Kit Connor as Bright Bill, who's a goose, I believe. Yes. And Bill Nighy, Stephanie Hsu, Mark Hamill, Catherine O'Hara, Ving Rhames, Matt Berry, and a bunch of other people. And the animation of this movie is like so good. It's like Spider-Verse kind of, but in a different style. But it's like in that same realm of like really interesting and cool animation. And the story is so good. And the voice acting is also really good. And if you like movies like WALL-E and The Lorax, then this movie will probably move you as it moved me. And if you have any sort of relationship with your mother or no relationship with your mother, this will hit you. Like it was, I did not expect that from this movie.
Really?
And it's basically a robot wakes up. The movie starts with a robot essentially waking up, and it's like an AI. It's like an AI robot that is designed to be like in people's homes, like an iRobot from iRobot. And it wakes up, and there was like a typhoon or a tsunami or something that crashes like a shipment container of these things. Mm-hmm. One of them wakes up, and essentially is looking for its like master. It's looking for someone to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
And is running around and sees all these animals, and all the animals are scared of this robot, and it's just like running through the forest, kind of causing mayhem. And it turns on learning mode, and essentially it just like sits down, like hunkers down, and then there's a time lapse that goes by, and it's just like learning all the languages that the animals speak.
Oh, that's cool.
And it so then that kind of explains how you can understand what the animals are saying because you're looking at it through the robot's perspective. And
I like that device. That's cool.
And then another element of this movie is in the beginning, the robot there's like a chase scene because it runs into a bear, and the bear starts chasing the robot, and then the robot falls down this hill, kind of like Chris Farley in Black Sheep.
Okay.
And then it lands on a tree, which squashes a nest of goose eggs, except one. And then the robot does like a scan. It sees that there's like life in this thing, and then it incubates the egg.
Oh, okay.
And essentially, the story becomes like this robot turns into raising this goose, and the goose thinks that the robot is its mother, and so the goose gets older and mimics the robot and becomes a runt of the litter, and tries to go back into its own species, but is rejected by its own species because it was raised by the quote unquote monster.
Got it.
And all the animals are kind of like afraid of this robot. And it also a big element of it is that because the robot is like, it can't fly or anything, so the goose doesn't know how to fly. And so that's a big part of the story as well. And there's like a really great sequence of it like learning how to fly. It's a really great shot of like all of these birds, kind of like a nature documentary when you see all those like peacocks flying, kind of like launching out of the water. It was like breathtaking. It was like so majestic.
Wow, cool.
And there's like some lines in this movie that is just so like well, if you're gone, what am I gonna do? It's like so, it like tugs at your heartstrings so well, and it is so entertaining. And I can't wait to watch it again. It's really fucking good.
Worth it in the theater?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's all I need to know.
Really, really good. And this is by DreamWorks, and they changed their opening sequence. You know, they've got the kid in the fishing line.
Yeah.
It's still there, but they did like a Marvel thing where they show all the properties that they've produced.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting.
It's really long too, huh?
Yeah, a little bit longer.
I heard it's like 90 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, and after like Kung Fu Panda 4 flopped, and I think something else they released also kind of did not do very well, but so this is like the first DreamWorks movie, I guess maybe of this year, that has done actually really well. And like, if this isn't up for like at least nominated for something like best animated feature, I will be heartbroken. Directed by Chris Sanders. It also has it's as like triumphant as like How to Train Your Dragon. The music is also like that.
Nice.
It's really, really good. So yeah, that's only in theaters right now. High recommend for that.
Nice. The last catalog entries from DreamWorks Animation is The Bad Guys from 2022. It's with the wolf and the snake and the shark that are all on a heist. Puss in Boots: Last Wish from 2022. Ruby Gilman Teenage Kraken from 2023. Trolls Band Together 2023. Kung Fu Panda 4 this year, and then coming soon is Dog Man.
Oh yeah, that trailer played in front of the
Oh, did?
Wild Robot. Yeah, I heard that DreamWorks laid off a bunch of animators. So after Dog Man, I don't think we'll be getting movies like Last Wish or Wild Robot anymore from DreamWorks.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because they take a long time to make.
They do.
But they don't want to invest that time to do that. But yeah, Wild Robot, highlight of the week.
Cool.
For sure.
And I mentioned Peter Brown last week about how he just, when we were talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and just two friends that decided to make that together, and now it's this like kind of staple. Everybody knows who the Turtles are.
Yeah.
And Wild Robot, he just wrote this book based off of nothing, came up with it from scratch, animated it, had it published, and DreamWorks decided to make it into this fantastic movie, and here we are talking about it.
Yeah.
So that's what a creative mind and just going out and doing it can do for you.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Nope, that is it.
Okay, so before I close out here, Angry Otter mentioned the next 3 days was something he liked better than Payback. I'm looking at it. It looks like it's on streaming on Peacock right now from 2010, starring Russell Crowe.
Okay.
I don't know anything about this movie, but he said he recommends it, and he also said his favorite body swap movie is Face Off from 1997, which is also streaming on Paramount Plus and Pluto. And then Bruce mentioned Point Blank, which what Payback was based off of, and I'm reading the synopsis. 100% is what it's based off of.
Oh, okay.
It says, after being double-crossed and left for dead, a mysterious man named Walker single-handedly tries to retrieve the rather inconsequential sum of money that was stolen from him. So yeah, absolutely. And that you gotta pay for that to rent it. And it's like $4 on Apple TV or Amazon Prime from 1967, and it's starring Lee Marvin and Angie Dickinson.
Oh,
Classic.
okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there since we had some comments in the chat.
All righty.
Okay, though. So thank you to our cool ass yardities. It's over on Patreon. That is, where the hell are they? Oh, here they are. Is Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. And if you want to support us on the Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or just go to the YouTube page and subscribe. That is if you watch it there, you are helping the podcast. And as of today, we've made our giveaway post to give away some of this stack of media. I'm going to give away 2 a week until we give the entire thing away. We have some grab bag giveaway box sets. There's 3 DVDs in here, unknown, have no idea what they are. And then this big stack of physical media that we're giving away. So go over to the Twitter. It's at
Middle Podcast MCFC.
Yeah, the Twitter's at Podcast MCFC. Or you can follow me on Twitter as well. My Twitter handle is at The Real Pete with 4 E's in the middle, PEEEETE. And on the Facebook page, just go to our Facebook page, and you can follow us there. Share it on Facebook. You'll get an entry, and then all the subscribers are going to be able to be eligible. So subscribe to the YouTube channel and tell your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the best way you can help us out. Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we gab and chatter sans Tyler this week. Follow us later on in the day or the week as we review TipToes.
Yes.
The much faded movie about Gary Oldman as a dwarf who's a twin brother to Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
So follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Twitter, Podcast MCFC, and on TikTok. Whoopsie. And don't leave a voicemail, I guess.
Please don't dox that guy. All right, we'll see you next time.
See ya.
here.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call!
Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kim left to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And no Tyler over there, but the Wheel of Destiny landed on my pick this week, and that would be TipToes.
Carol and Steven's life together was perfect.
I've got to get going.
Right this second?
Wild bunch.
Hey, baby.
Hey, sweetie. I love you.
There's one small problem.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm his brother. We're twins.
Are your parents?
Yeah.
It can tear them apart.
I think you gotta let me know that everyone in your family's a midget.
Dear God.
Carol the dwarfs.
Whatever.
Or bring them together.
Hey, welcome. I'm Steven.
Ah, there you are. This is Steven's father, Bruno, and his mom, Kathleen. And over behind the bar is Steven's brother, Rolf.
Our face.
You couldn't prepare us for this, don't you think? If you embarrass me, I'll never speak to you again, so just get it together.
How's everybody drink?
I think maybe I'm pregnant.
When the going gets rough, it's only the size of your heart that counts.
Would it really be that big of a deal if our kid was a dwarf?
You knocked up this great girl, and you didn't tell her that her baby's probably gonna be little. I'm not like you.
We are so cute and cuddly. Don't discriminate against us.
You said these parties got a little wild. I never expected this. There's sure a lot of midgets around here.
My man can do what he wants to do.
I'm ready for an adult relationship.
What is this man doing in your bedroom?
Oof.
A walk down the aisle
Steven's he's a very lucky guy. Just hope he's smart enough not to screw it up.
is just a beginning.
There'll be rough patches, there's no doubt about it.
Canal Plus and Langley Productions proudly present command performances from Kate Beckinsale, Matthew McConaughey, Patricia Arquette, and in the role of a lifetime, Gary Oldman.
The best. The best.
Huh?
Ooh. Gary Oldman in the role of a lifetime.
In a role of a lifetime.
Oh, what is that?
This is Gary Oldman's role of a lifetime. It's a role in his lifetime.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Of his lifetime? Yeah, it's his. Of his lifetime, it is a role.
I like when people describe something, they're like, oh, this is one of the greatest movies of our generation, or whatever, or one of the great movies of our generation.
Mm-hmm.
And the step down from that is one of the movies of our generation.
It's a movie in a generation.
This is one of the movies of this generation.
It's a movie in the year that came out. Yes.
2003, it was there.
Yeah.
And it really happened.
It did happen. IMDb says 2002, but there's some things by 2003. I'm confused. But yeah,
it was shelved for a while because it's the movie that it is.
Yeah. So TipToes. But before TipToes, Tyler again is not here.
Yeah, he has previous obligations.
He's
cutting class.
He's Matt Smith right now.
Yeah.
Just me and Pete here. Going to talk about TipToes. Tyler did watch it and he did review it, and so we'll read that when we get into our initial thoughts. But TipToes, directed and written by one Matthew Bright. This was the last movie that he directed.
Oh, really?
Yes. Not the last movie he wrote, or not the last thing that he wrote. He wrote one more thing after this, and it was a segment in a video called Tomb of Terror.
Okay.
That was in 2004, and he hasn't done anything since, I don't think. TipToes was his last movie that he wrote and directed. And before that, he did Ted Bundy. He directed and wrote Ted Bundy.
It was like a biopic,
I guess so, an homage.
a loving retelling.
Yeah. Before that, he did a movie called Freeway, and a movie after that called Freeway 2.
Oh yeah,
Confessions of a Trick Baby.
Trick? What the fuck?
Trick Baby. I
don't know anything about that.
I don't know. He seems like he was kind of going for maybe a John Waters type of vibe, starring Natasha Lyonne and also David Alan Grier in that.
Wow, that's interesting.
In Freeway 2. But TipToes, starring Matthew McConaughey, Gary Oldman, Patricia Arquette, Kate Beckinsale, and a flurry of dwarf actors. Peter Dinklage, Ed Gale,
the guy from Twin Peaks.
Yes, David Alan Grier, not David Alan Grier, the guy from Twin Peaks, and some recognizable faces like I've seen in I think the aunt. I think she, like the blonde, like the wife of the uncle. She was in Seinfeld one episode.
Okay.
I was surprised I didn't see Mickey from Seinfeld in this.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of little people in this cast.
Yeah.
And the plot of this has one sentence on TipToes, and it hides I guess, not the twist. There's no twist or anything about this, but the story of a peculiar love triangle involving two brothers. I wouldn't really call it a love triangle. It's more just like
at the very end, you're like, "This is happening."
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I guess it is a love triangle of sorts.
It's a isosceles triangle.
Yeah,
it's just it's barely there.
Yeah, it's imbalanced.
One end is very little.
Yeah, pun intended.
Very nice.
And Matthew McConaughey plays the male lead, and Kate Beckinsale the female lead, and they are involved with each other. Kate Beckinsale's character is like an artist of some kind, and she does well. She lives in like a loft warehouse.
Yeah, she's making paper, painting walls.
Yeah, she's the Jackson Pollock of this generation.
Yeah, it's been said many times.
And Matthew McConaughey, he's not a firefighter. He teaches cadets.
He trains cadets how to be firefighters.
Yeah, drill sergeant style. And his brother is Gary Oldman, who is a little person, and his whole family is a little person. It's like that TLC show, Little Big World.
Little People, Big World.
Little People, Big World.
Yeah.
And Peter Dinklage is a friend of what's his name? Rolf. That's Gary Oldman's character.
He's a French Marxist anarchist.
Yeah, and then he picks up a hitchhiker, which is Patricia Arquette, who's like a hippie spiritualist type of person, who wears very short skirts and dresses all the time. And they're friends for some reason. And Maurice is just a character in this movie that has a presence in it for some reason.
I have thoughts about his character.
Basically, Kate Beckinsale doesn't know that Matthew McConaughey's whole family are little people, and he's the only non-little person. He's the only NLP.
Yeah. This whole time I've been at NLP, I didn't even know it.
His family is a bunch of LPs, are all LPs, and he's the only non-LP.
I think that's offensive.
Yeah, I don't know. LP, I mean, it's a music thing, right?
Yeah. Long play.
And so that's the reveal for Kate Beckinsale's character, is that she learns that his whole family is that after she learns that she's pregnant.
Yes, only after she learns she's pregnant.
Yeah. And Rolf he shows himself to her, not in that way.
He shows himself. What are you saying?
He presents himself to her unbeknownst that she doesn't know of his and his family's existence.
Yeah, he tries to go to his brother's house where he's not there. He's off on at work.
Yeah, training fire cadets.
And she's like, "You're his brother."
Yeah,
but you're a one of them.
Yeah,
might as well have said that.
I know. It was a very wild movie. It was a roller coaster, honestly. It was like back and forth between emotions and characters' like motivations and how they feel about situations. It's like make up your mind. What are you doing? You know, he feels one way, and then he goes back. You know what? I feel this way now. and then the dialogue is it's like not progressive but progressive at the same time, because she's like she's like non-PC, and she's like, I don't care about that stuff, and it's like, but you're like an artist. I feel like that you would be in that.
She should be progressive.
I feel like it's like flipped. I feel like he would be the one, but he comes from that environment,
and he also has a lot of like anger tied up in it. Like
He's a lot of shame.
Yeah, I think shame is probably the more correct word. Yeah.
Yeah, because there is one line where he's like, I'm a dwarf.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, this is both of our first time watches. And I put this on the wheel because it just seems like such a crazy concept to have Gary Oldman, Sirius Black himself, play a little person acting on his knees.
Literally on his, and with like shoulder prosthetics too.
Yeah, and they
try to make his body like,
they tried to give him the stature,
like a homunculus on his shoulder or something.
Yeah, like he had a hump.
Yeah. What are they doing? Why?
I don't know. And then Peter Dinklage is there. Obviously, there's a bunch of actual dwarf actors there.
Is it like the Rolf's girlfriend, the uncle and aunt, his mom and dad?
Yeah.
There's like
there's the
Peter Dinklage himself. There's like 6 prominent ones.
I know. There, and then
like
there's
little actors.
There's the person who plays Gary Oldman's like double when his back is turned.
Yeah, there's he's definitely got a body double in a few. You're like, wait, where's his? Oh, it's a body double.
They got a child to do that, and not a dwarf.
God damn it.
But yeah, I put it on the wheel because I thought it would be a fun to talk about because of this insane idea of doing this. So I guess let's get into it. Pete, what was your takeaway, initial thoughts for TipToes?
Well, the first thing I thought was, I was expecting this kind of offensive caricature of a little person by Gary Oldman, and I was right. It was like, not only is it like he's literally walking on his knees.
Yes.
Like there's an old comedy sketch called Dwarf on whatever. It's like Dwarf on dating, Dwarf on golf, and it's just like some comedian with shoes on his knees. I don't know if it was Saturday Night Live or Mad TV or something like that.
Sounds like a Mad TV thing.
Something like that. And it's just like a guy shuffling around on his knees, kind of hobbling back and forth. And you're like, that's the level that they're doing with an Oscar-winning, not at the time, actor, fucking Gary Oldman.
In a role of a lifetime.
The role of a lifetime. And like, did they not realize that Peter Dinklage is right there? Granted, he's a lot younger, maybe he wasn't as well established, and his French accent is definitely pointing to the fact that he got better as the years went on with his acting chops, because, man, I was the first couple scenes with him, I'm like, what is he? What?
I thought he was British.
What nationality is he supposed to be? I was like, does he have a speech impediment? Is his like tongue numb or something? And then at some point he says, oui, I am French. I am proud to be French. And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, audience, I'm French.
I guess he's French now. But... So, first off, it checked that box of offensiveness and like distastefulness.
Yeah,
because not only they have him shuffling around on his knees through every scene, they also put this hunchback prosthetic sloppily under like a normal person's coat.
Yeah,
like he's wearing like a normally non-tailored coat, so it goes all the way to the ground and covers up whatever,
Trying to make him look smaller.
I guess. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's literally shuffling into the scene on his knees.
I know, he's like kind of waddling, shuffling.
Yeah, and they give him a cane, so he's kind of going back and forth like this. And there was a part in the movie where I was thinking, oh, they could have done something really interesting here and really like spent some time talking about the unfortunate nature of, you see a little person or a dwarf and you're like, oh, that's, it's just gut shot. You see it, they look different than a normal person. And then, but there's so much more wrapped up in it. There's like, illnesses and ailments and, medical conditions that are wrapped up in it, impact, or what do they say? It was like a bulging disc, Peter Dinklage's character.
Herniated disc.
Yeah. And like other things that are just part of being a little person. And they spend precisely 2 minutes talking about that in this movie. And that's like, I feel like that's what Dinklage was. He was like the angry part of the dwarf community.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pissed off that this is happening to me, and this is the life I have to live, and I'm angry about it because I have all these ailments along with me, so I'm drowning it out with cough syrup and Hennessy.
Yeah.
You know? And like, there could have been something interesting there, but the way that this was edited, there was nothing to it.
Yeah, and the way that he was written, he was just there.
He was just a friend along for the ride on his motorcycle trip.
Yeah, he didn't
with Rolf.
He didn't provide any. He didn't need to be there for the plot of the movie.
No,
he was just his asshole guy he was with somehow.
Yeah,
like why was they with him?
And there's just so many strange choices in this. Like, the character's name is Steven, and his brother's name is Rolf.
Yeah,
Steven and Rolf.
Yeah.
Also, they're twin brothers.
Yeah.
Not nearly the same age in real life. Let's see.
Oh, IRL, yeah.
Let's see. McConaughey. I got McConaughey pulled up here. Let's see what he was. And he won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. Gary Oldman won his Oscar for Darkest Hour, but was nominated also for Mank and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And Patricia Arquette won an Oscar for Boyhood.
Ah, yeah.
So Gary Oldman. Let's see here. Matthew McConaughey.
Born 1969.
69. Let's see where Oldman was born. 1958.
So then
11 years difference.
11 years. He's 11 years older.
And Peter Dinklage and Matthew McConaughey are 6 months apart. They could have been the brothers.
But they don't look alike. Gary Oldman.
They don't look like Gary Oldman either.
They're uncanny. What are you talking about?
It's like looking into a goddamn mirror. And it's like either McConaughey has to drop the Southern accent or Oldman has to pick up the Southern accent.
He kind of had it.
In the trailer, he's laying on that Southern accent real thick at points. And McConaughey's, about the least Tennessean his accent is in this movie versus others.
Yeah.
So
he's the biggest asshole in this movie.
Oh, God. And he's not even likable.
Yeah.
You're like, but I guess it kind of makes sense because why would someone who's likable hide their family from this entire time? Like, he is kind of a prick throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be this.
I wasn't sure who to latch onto.
I know, me neither. That was my biggest takeaway was, besides the weird choices of making Gary Oldman a little person, besides the stupid casting choice of having them 11 years apart and not look anything alike, and they're twins. They don't have to be twins.
It's like the movie Twins.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
That's a whole movie in itself, that choice, but there's so much more to it. Besides all those choices, the movie's just bad. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't make sense. You don't know who the protagonist is.
Not really sure what the conflict is.
Their motivation. And it's like the conflict is that she's pregnant with his baby. Yeah. And she finds out after it's too late that there's a chance that the baby could be a little person.
God.
Okay.
The interaction after that conversation.
Which one?
The one where she confronts him at the fire training place.
Oh, yeah.
That was like so cringe.
Where she's wearing her lucky hat?
Yes, that, but also just what she was saying.
So it's just a bad movie.
Yeah.
And it's almost 2 hours long, and I paused about halfway through, and I had to get up and do something. I came back down, and I looked at the thing. I'm like, 45 minutes left of this fucking movie. I feel like it's been going...
What is this?
Yes, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much bad movie. It's too much cringe. It's too much inoffensive, distasteful choices. It's too much shitty script. It's too much bad acting. It's all just too much. I don't like it. It wasn't good. No. But it was fun to watch and like laugh at. This could be added to the list of like enjoyable bad movies to watch.
Yeah.
And I feel bad saying a good bad movie. That we talked about that a bunch of times, and they have phrases. A lot of people know that. Miami Connection, Samurai Cop. Those are the two go-to. The Room. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could call it a good bad movie. I just call it a bad movie that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just because it's you're like, who decided this? And when you look into the lore behind the movie, and we'll get into it later, but Matthew Bright, the original script he wrote when he was 18, and this is an actual quote. Matthew Bright conceived the film when he was 18 as, quote, a raucous comedy about little people fucking each other. 30 years after the screenplay was written, Matthew Bright's stepfather gave a copy of the script to Cops creator John Langley.
Cops.
Who was interested in producing TipToes. That's how the movie got started. As if the production itself wasn't weird enough. It became from the original creator of Cops. From an 18-year-old script, it goes, wouldn't it be funny if we had a bunch of dwarfs banging each other? That's where it started.
That's the inception of the whole thing.
And they're like, Matthew McConaughey, Peter Dinklage, Gary Oldman, Kate Beckinsale. Yeah, you can wear your hat. Bring it along.
Wear your terrible outfits.
Oh, God. Yeah. So, anyways, it was disaster. This movie's a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
What do you think over there, Ben? Big Ben, number 7.
Jack's in the chat. What do you think about TipToes, Jack?
Jack, has seen TipToes?
Give us your thoughts. Should we read Tyler's next since he's
Yeah, let's read Tyler's since I'm on the screen.
Yeah, so Tyler watched it and he reviewed it and he sent us his review.
Yes, so Tyler's I haven't read this yet. Okay, TipToes 2003 from Tyler Noe. What the fuck was this movie? It felt like a fever dream. The story, while making sense, felt so unnecessary to tell, or rather the way it was structured made it feel like it was unnecessary. Gary Oldman playing a little person felt very jarring, and Peter Dinklage was underused because I think he is a great talent and should have been more on the forefront of the story. I thought Matthew McConaughey does well in his performance, but I could not stop thinking of him as Rust from True Detective. Maybe this is a prequel to that story, told even though his name is not Rust Cole in this film. Mm-hmm. I don't know, all caps. But overall, this movie was offensive, boring, and just did not care for it. No emotional attachment to any characters, and I feel like this is a show they would show. This is a show they would show when I would go to Saturday school every weekend because I skipped class all the time. Grade F, end of report, half star.
Okay.
So
half star.
Half star. Half star. No
lowest
heart.
grade in a while.
No heart. Yeah, half star, no heart. F. Grade F. End of report.
It'd be funny if he did a like.
Yeah, half star with a like.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of similar in that camp.
It's a bad movie, but I liked it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks Tyler. Thanks for that.
I have a picture of Kate Beckinsale's lucky hat.
Oh,
you heard that story, right?
Oh, she has a lucky hat.
She agreed to do the film only if she could wear her lucky hat on camera.
Oh, really?
And that
is that stupid
striped beanie with the long thing on
That's
it.
The hat?
That's the hat.
Oh my God.
That's her lucky hat.
What the fuck? That's so weird.
Yeah.
All right. So my thoughts, my initial takeaway. I had a lot of fun watching this. I'll say that right off the bat.
Off the jump.
It was fun to watch. Me and Deanna watched it together, and we were just cringing and criticizing. Yeah, her outfits, that stupid hat that she wore.
Criticize.
It was a roller coaster of emotions, and when you thought it was over, it just kept on going. And then, because at some point you're like, "What? How is this gonna wrap up? How's this gonna end?"
Yeah.
Because a big plot point in the movie is the pregnancy, and then they bring up the idea of like if it's a little person, all the potential ailments that come along with that will be hard to deal with once the baby is born. And then once that happens, the tone shifts a little bit.
It gets depressing, even more depressing.
Because McConaughey can't come to terms with his own heritage, his own genealogy.
Yeah.
And he is basically just mad. He's not mad at anybody. He just hates himself. It seems like he just hates himself, and he hates where he comes from.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes him like a bad person because he won't seek counseling. He won't go to therapy.
Yeah.
That's brought up like briefly.
A couple times, yeah.
A couple times, but he just when he's in that room with that baby and they're at like a little person's hospital. There's like a little person doctor that comes in.
Yeah. Well, he's a specialist.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be more comforting if the specialist was also a little person.
Yeah.
Dealing with little person issues.
Yeah.
But he looks like miserable, Matthew McConaughey's character in that hospital room. He Kyle's the wall. He punches a hole in the wall.
He looks like he's just finished off. He does look like Rust Cole in that scene.
Yeah, he's
He's a man on the edge.
Finished off a bottle of Jack or whatever, and he's
getting ready to go undercover.
Filled with rage.
The Iron Crusaders.
God damn it! My child's a little person.
He's exactly what we thought he would be.
Yeah, and I was so confused on how both he and her felt about the baby being born, because I got mixed emotions from both of them on how they felt about it.
Yeah,
because he comes from that world and he's like correcting her on the terminology.
He's a proud family of a dwarf,
but at the same time, he's like not that at all. So it's like it's
conflicted.
It's very conflicting, and I don't know if that's just from the writing. Maybe it's brilliant writing.
We just don't get it. It's like Megalopolis level.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's an interaction after it's revealed to Kate Beckinsale that his family is little people, and he has that like genetic code or whatever that could
recessive gene
that could pass on to any children that he has. She confronts him about it at work in front of all those students. She walks up in her like pajamas.
Yeah, really, she's in pajamas.
And then he's in the middle of talking to them. They're all sitting on the ground and they're just in a field, and he's like talking to them, and then he looks at them and he sees her and he's like, "Take 5, everybody." And they're like, "Okay, I guess we'll just sit here and watch you guys talk.
We'll just slouch." Yeah.
And I'm getting so many mixed feelings from her when she's like, "You didn't tell me that your family were a bunch of dwarves," except she didn't say dwarves. And he kept on correcting her, and he was like being, he was speaking for them. He was being the voice for them because he comes from that environment. Yeah. And that whole conversation, she seems so shocked, as if that's the worst thing that could happen to a baby that you're about to have. It's like you find out before birth, because we have the technology now, that your baby's gonna have Down syndrome or something, and you're like, "Oh my, are you kidding me?" It's like the worst thing that could happen.
Well, in certain countries like Finland and Iceland, you can they require testing to see if the child has
that
Down syndrome or something, and then you can decide whether to terminate early enough.
Yeah, and it's like
which is a crazy thing to put your mind into, like this hypothetical situation that would be in.
I know it is insane, but it's like dwarfism, and it's like that you're looking at that as like I don't want
a life-ending ailment.
Yeah, like I want a child, not that child.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a weird concept. That like, but at the end of that conversation, she was like, "But what would it be so wrong if our child was a dwarf?" I was like, "What are you? You're the one who's making a big deal out of it."
This whole thing was your idea.
I was like, "You brought it up." It should just be the fact that he just hid his family from you.
It's tonally all over the place, yeah.
And I was like, that's why it was like such a roller coaster of like everybody's feeling are conflicting with themselves. And I get like changing your mind, like you can change your mind, but like when he punches that wall, he goes outside, he comes back inside, he's like, "You guys all right? You guys all right?"
Nice.
You know, remember when he said that? It was an homage, I think, just some movie he was in.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you which one though.
But yeah, it was like just kind of like just all over the place.
It was weird because it was like he was angry that his son turned out just like him, even though he wasn't a dwarf.
Yeah. Even though he like thinks that he's a dwarf because he exclaims, "I'm a dwarf," because he's mad at himself for being that way.
Yeah,
I don't know. And Beckinsale's character seems like such an airhead when she goes to like the uncle's house without him and meets like his family. She's like learning all this stuff. Like she has never seen a little person in her life before. I've never heard of them. And
I got thoughts about that once your initial thoughts are done.
It was just, by the end of it, I was like, this was an unsatisfying and depressing ending, because it just like ends with them together. Spoiler alert.
Get some help.
She ends up with
Rolf, the dog from the Muppets.
Yeah. and his character
comes out of nowhere, dude. That comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, there was a weird instance on like her wedding day where they kissed on the lips. Like,
yeah, I guess.
But it was like, why did you do that?
I figured that was just a cultural thing.
Like, is that dwarf culture?
Dwarf stuff, yeah. It's like Eskimo kisses.
I will. One positive thing that I have will say about this is that got me. I was like, oh, that was good. Was when her parents come to dinner.
Yes,
and then
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then they're like, I got to bring it up.
We got to say something.
And then it's like you think that she's going to mention the
protest to
the dwarfism.
Yeah, and
it's like will you have a Jewish ceremony?
Yeah, my dad's gonna die, and he's an Orthodox Jew or whatever.
Yeah,
he would be so mad. We couldn't get him to the wedding if it wasn't a Jewish wedding.
Yeah, that was good.
And then Rolf says, "Well, what if he dies soon? Can we switch it back to Catholic?" And everybody laughs about the grandpa dying.
Yeah, because everything seemed to be
that got me.
Yeah.
That scene got. I was like, "Oh fuck,
Matthew Bright, you did it again.
You good for nothing, so and so."
Yeah. But it was a wild. It was. I can't hear myself.
Oh, you can't?
Nope.
What happened here?
Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go.
How about that? There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a wild. It was a wild experience, and I'm glad that I exposed myself to it. But my biggest criticism was the presence of Peter Dinklage's character.
Like he had no purpose.
And Patricia Arquette. Like they just served no purpose.
Yeah, they're the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
There's already enough conflict in that story without them two.
And then David Alan Grier's in it, and he's Jerry Robin Jr.
He's got a shitty wig.
I know, and then he's banging someone in the middle of a party.
I know,
just literally in the middle of it.
Yeah,
like not like in a bedroom somewhere. They're like in the dining room. We're surrounded by glass windows, and they just turn on the lights, and it's
like in the beginning of what's it called, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, well,
but yeah, so that's TipToes. Well, I mean, we're still gonna talk about it, but I know that was my experience.
You want to go to just the two of us?
Yeah,
just the two of us.
No Tyler.
Okay, so I want to read a couple of things that. Did you do any research into this?
A little bit. I know that the Matthew Bright was fired.
Yes.
At the end of it, by the end of the filmmaking process.
Yes. So the original cut was 2.5 hours. It was a 150-minute cut.
Damn.
And that was premiered at a film festival called the Harry Knowles Butt Numbathon.
What?
Yeah.
Butt Numbathon?
Butt Numbathon. Like you're going to sit on your butt for so long, it's numb.
Okay.
After that was debuted and played for the audience, Matthew Bright was fired immediately.
Wait, after the movie wrapped?
Yeah, after he cut the whole movie, the 2.5 hour
cut. The 2.5 hour cut. Okay.
And then it was already wrapped. He made the 2.5 hour cut. They debuted at this Harry Knowles Butt Numbathon film festival and was immediately fired from production.
Oh my God. Right when the credits were rolling?
Yeah.
Bright, you're fired.
Exactly. And Peter Dinklage says that the studio recut the movie into the version that we saw.
Yeah.
And he says that the original version was a beautiful, poignant, and fantastic film, and the people that recut it should be fired.
Sent to jail.
Yeah. Wouldn't believe it. Actually, straight to jail.
Yeah.
So after the film was re-edited without his involvement, the 90-minute producer's cut was screened at the 2004 Sundance Film Festival, where Matthew Bright had criticized the film and the producers for re-editing it. The producer's cut went on to receive negative reviews, obviously, and in some reviews, it had been called one of the worst movies ever made.
But Gary Oldman's in a role of a lifetime.
In the role of a lifetime. So I already talked about how Matthew Bright wrote the original script when he was 18 as a way to have a comedy, a sex comedy about little people fucking each other.
Wouldn't it be funny?
This would be crazy.
Get it? So there's definitely an exploitative nature.
Yes.
About the inception of the story.
But what I have to say, though, is a 2.5 hour movie. That's a whole nother hour into this.
Another hour.
And I think that if it really was a more of a serious tone, maybe they were going to be exploring kind of the unsavory nature of just having a difficult life because of this, condition that you have.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that could be valid. It's like almost like, somebody living with, diabetes, and that's just a character. It's like not everybody. A lot of people got diabetes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a known thing, and people know insulin, and you can't eat this blood sugar. You gotta kind of control that. Type 1, type 2, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But outside of just the appearance of somebody being smaller than the average person, what do you know about dwarfism?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, next to nothing. Next to nothing about like what actually goes on into the care of a dwarf child.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, leaning into the fear of, being pregnant and thinking that this could happen to your child, there's a lot of very valid fears that come along with that. The biggest plot hole, though, is that the overwhelmingly most common form of dwarfism is known as achondroplasia. Is only possible to inherit the gene if either parent is a dwarf, which obviously is not the case. Neither of the parents are dwarfs. The less common form is heritable from dwarfism is only possible to have a dwarf child if both parents' families have a history of dwarfism. And the film never talks about Carol's family having a history of dwarfism. Obviously, she knows nothing about it.
Yeah.
In fact, Steve being the only average-sized person from his family of dwarfs makes it overwhelmingly likely that he didn't inherit any of the dwarf genes from his parents. Therefore, there's almost a next to nothing chance of having a dwarf child between the two.
Well, science is a tricky thing.
And the whole time, they're like,
they're
There's
concerned.
a good chance this is going to happen. It's going to happen. You better prep for it. Let's read all the books.
But other than...
I'll put you in touch with a doctor.
The doctor himself is the only one that is like... It doesn't even say in the movie that that the baby does have dwarfism, did it?
It doesn't implicitly say,
but it heavily implies it.
It heavily implies it
because they're like doing a bunch of tests.
They're going to give it hormone treatments all the way up until its age of 3.
Is that because they know it's a dwarf, or is that just like a just in case?
I'm assuming it would be very strange to just in case give your kid hormones for the first 3 years.
Just
of their
in
life.
case, because like obviously we're gonna know when he stops growing.
And it's like this is just going to speak to my
ignorance
on the topic, but can you tell
like when the baby's
born?
I mean, because there's like certain stature.
It's a smaller baby.
Yeah, it's a tiny baby.
It's like
even tinier babies.
Arms are a little shorter or something. It's like it's all just none of it's good. None of these thoughts that I'm thinking are like positive. The movie could have helped us normies.
Yeah, non-NLPs.
NLPs, us NLPs, not be able to like navigate and like learn a little bit about the culture and society of little people.
Yeah.
I loved the what do they call it? The venue that they go to, the convention.
Oh yeah.
They have the little person's
convention.
Because
it's like an organization that it's like helps like support a little. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what they did.
Yeah, it's more like just telling people, hey, you can't just use this for every time that there's a elf in a movie or something. We're not just your clowns.
Yeah.
Which I think that there could be a similar sort of like push from the albino community.
Yeah.
Every movie that you see an albino in, they're a weird person or an evil person or a ghost or a vampire or something, and you're like,
yeah, like the Matrix, they can go through walls.
Yeah. Powder,
Yeah.
And then there's the one from Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh,
he's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
And you're like, can't you just have like a normal dude who's albino?
Yeah. Why? It's strange because now you get into the territory of like I mean, Gary Oldman playing a little person surrounded by actors who are actually little people. It's like,
yeah,
you get into the topic of, well, that person shouldn't play a trans person, or that person shouldn't play a gay person because they're not gay or they're not trans. You get into that sort of territory where it's like, to only hire like a disabled person, someone who's actually in a wheelchair.
Sure.
Right. And I feel like with that, there's like, there's a line, there's definitely a line.
Yeah.
That there is a cutoff. Like there's a movie coming out. It's a Disney movie and I can't remember the name of it, and the main character has cerebral palsy, but it's played by a actress who has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And it's like, I understand if you were to get a person with non-cerebral palsy to play that person,
sure,
that would be an issue. It's like the music situation.
Oh, I see. Like you don't want to like put on blackface, but with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, disabled face.
Yeah. I mean that's what Oldman's doing this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, you get Dinklage there.
He's putting on dwarf face.
Yeah, dwarf legs.
Dwarf legs.
Fuck. I don't know. What's to say?
Stop laughing, Joseph.
What's the terminology?
Stop.
I Am Sam situation.
I'll defend the movie. Love it.
It's like,
but I understand.
It's like there's a line somewhere. You get people from that community,
Simple Jack,
to support you. It's like Eddie Redmayne in Danish Girl. You know,
I don't know that one.
He plays like the first woman to, and historically the real woman who, like the first trans woman, like documented. And
really,
it's like,
I don't know about this movie. I kind of want to watch it now.
It was a Tom Hooper movie, and
Eddie Redmayne plays the trans woman.
Yes, he won an Oscar for it.
Wow, I had no idea what that was about.
And looking back, Eddie Redmayne has said maybe I shouldn't have taken that role. So he himself has admitted
Hunter Schafer needs to play all trans women.
I guess so. You know, so you get into that world of, or even Matthew McConaughey playing someone with AIDS in Dallas Buyers Club.
You should really put Magic Johnson in there.
I know. You know, it's like someone doesn't have to have cancer to play the person the character who has cancer, you know, but someone with cerebral palsy should be played by someone with cerebral palsy.
Doesn't RJ Mitty, he doesn't have cerebral palsy or muscular dystrophy? The guy that plays Walt Jr. in Breaking Bad?
I don't know. I don't actually know.
He puts on that affectation of his
He
voice.
does have a movement disability,
Does
I think.
he?
I think
Okay.
so.
So, you know, the place I come down on that is it's such a complicated topic. I won't shame really anybody for making those choices. Unless it's egregious, and this is egregious.
Yeah, because it was not necessary.
It's like the Supreme Court case with Larry Flint. You know, what is pornography? What is smut? I don't know, but I'll know it when I see it.
Right.
It's like that's too far.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman shuffling around on his knees with shoes stuck to them and sitting inside a couch so it looks like he's got like,
the legs.
Bro.
He looked like a Muppet.
Why are you doing it? Yeah, exactly.
A Muppet sitting on a couch.
And again, I can't overstate the fact that they put a hump on him.
Yeah.
And they're like...
He's deformed.
Yeah, they're like, well... I mean, we want to make him the size of a little person, but we also got to deform his body. It's like, come on. There's like the whole cast is full of like little people too. And you're like, this is what we think of you. We want to, you know, if you didn't have a humpback, we'd put a humpback on you.
Yeah.
You know, we want to make you this weird blob. That also, he has like thick bifocal lenses.
Yeah. They make his
like,
eyes look bigger.
So it's kind of like they're trying to highlight also his physical ailments that come along with the condition.
Yeah.
But none of the other actors have the bifocal thick Coke bottle lenses.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the continuity? What's the message?
Yeah.
Maybe it all got caught out in that extra hour.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of stuff. Maybe there's more about the her discovering that the baby might be a little person, and like in the context of the movie in this world, like there's a chance it might be a little person. Like, do we want to have that? Do we want to? It's like the way I looked at it is like, is this like a pro-life versus pro-choice type of situation where it's like not wanting a kid because it might have an ailment?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I don't know. What do you think? It's not for me to say. That's your choice.
Yeah. I mean, then it gets into the further question of abortion and how far into the abortion, you know, like is it a person's life and does it matter, and like abortion based off of like inconvenience versus life-saving aspects of the pregnancy.
Yeah, and also like quality of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Of this, it's like, the babies might have some problems. Might have some problems.
Yeah.
Is that like big problems or little problems? Well, little problems. Yeah.
Big world, little problems.
Big little problems.
Jesus Christ. Are we going to hell?
Maybe. Ultra hell. So, you know, there's that question that doesn't really get brought up that much in this cut of the movie. Maybe it's in the 2.5 hour cut, the bright cut. Mm-hmm. I did find it pretty funny. Yeah. It was definitely comical at some points.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to say.
But yeah, and it brought up a lot of questions for me, and I mean, I'm glad I watched it.
Me too. I'm very glad I watched it.
And
Heather's not glad she watched it though.
Oh, she hated it.
She tweeted out that she was watching it because of us,
mm-hmm.
and then she just retweeted with like a GIF of Bert and Ernie where he's like coming to the realization that something terrible is happening. That one.
Oh yeah.
He says, "Me staring at Pete right now."
I've made a mistake. I put it on the wheel.
I told her blame Joseph, even though I'm excited to finally watch it.
Yeah. Oh. Man.
TipToes annoyed me because there were actually parts that could be a decent movie with an interesting conflict. Put Dinklage in Oldman's role and get rid of the Marxist and the hitchhiker for a start. Hey, that's what we said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would make so much more sense.
The other thing is they shoehorn in the quote unquote love triangle.
Yeah.
Like at what part of the movie is Rolf engaging or romantic, or
he's not like going after her and she's not going after him.
He's not even particularly like a super strong voice of reason. He's just kind of like a brother who's saying common sense shit.
Yeah.
It's not like he's overtly like enlightened or anything. He's just like, don't be ashamed that your kid might be a dwarf. Cool. Congratulations. Give him the humanitarian award. He's just like a guy who's just saying common sense to her.
Yeah.
Compared to her asshole boyfriend with the rock hard bod and giant wang that you see at some point when he's getting into bed with her. I was like, oh yeah, he was in Magic Mike. I forgot. This dude is unbelievable.
I know when you see him in like his tidy whities, and I'm like, damn, that guy is carved out of stone.
I know, for real. The dwarf baby's gonna be carved out of stone too.
The dwarf's gonna have 6-pack abs.
Fuck me, dude, this movie.
Yeah.
I would you recommend people to watch this?
I don't know. It depends on the person, I think.
My answer is yes.
Anybody?
100. Yes, everybody.
You should watch it. It's really bad.
Everybody should. Yeah, it's like our 3-star movie conversation last week.
Yeah.
And this movie's mid. You should watch it.
This movie's not mid. It's definitely lower than mid, but it is a fun time to watch.
Oh, there are 2 parts in the movie where you can see
his
Oldman's legs.
Yeah.
His real legs, we didn't even talk about the shitty CGI.
Yeah, because it's barely in it. Because most of the time it's shot from like his mid-thigh up.
Yeah. He's literally just standing on his knees.
Yeah.
One of the reviews I saw of this is a 1/2 star, and it says, I hope Gary Oldman gets lifelong knee pain because of this, and every time he thinks about it, he thinks about the kid TipToes.
Yeah.
I don't wish that to happen to him.
Imagine running into Gary Oldman, you have a DVD of TipToes. Can you sign this for me?
Please.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's not a wizard.
No.
In real life, but he played a wizard.
Yeah.
It's the same
Why'd
thing.
you get a wizard?
It's the same thing. Get a real wizard.
He's not a spy.
Get that guy that was running for like the New Hampshire Congress or whatever.
He doesn't actually work for a
boot on his head.
Secret agent.
He's not really a Tinker Tailor soldier spy.
He's not a tinker. He's not a tailor or a soldier.
He might be a tailor
or a spy. Yeah, and he's not a ruler in a sci-fi future with the plastic
shell in his shaved head.
Yeah, that talks to planets.
Yeah. Told me not to bother you unless it was Mr. Shadow, and it's Mr. Shadow. Could you tell me what his character's name is in Fifth Element? The full name?
No, it's like Zeebelvorp or something like that.
His last name is Zorg.
Zorg,
but he has a full name. Do you know what it is?
No.
Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg. Is that mentioned in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He says it himself as he's introducing himself to somebody.
Oh, okay.
With very great effect.
What is his role?
He's the CEO of Zorg Industries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was just like some fucking guy who was rich.
And the guy, his assistant's like, Mr. Zorg, profits are down. And we suggest laying off 500,000 workers. And he says, fire 1 million.
Yeah, and he's like,
well, we only need 500,000. I said fire 1 million.
And he's like from Texas.
Yeah,
He's like from the South.
I love that movie.
That's his role of a lifetime.
Yeah. What else could be a role of his lifetime for him?
Sirius Black. I mean.
Oh, the guy from Leon the Professional.
Oh, yeah. Everyone.
Also, the guy from True Romance.
Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
Not Gordon Freeman. Gordon.
No.
Gordon. What's his name? Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, Commissioner Gordon. Yeah.
Dracula.
Oh, fuck. You're right. That's the role of a lifetime.
I
crossed oceans of time to find you.
Yeah.
I love him in that.
Those are the most notable ones, I think.
Fuck this movie. I just can't believe they showed his legs there. Like
yeah.
They could, like, someone watched it and was like, oh, you could, fine, leave it in.
Yeah, just whatever.
Twice.
Yeah.
I saw the one time, and then I saw a thing later that showed the clip of it under the coffee table. You can see it, and you're like, bro, why? They just gave up at some point.
Just the fact that he is just on his knees, surrounded by everybody else, walking around next to Matthew McConaughey, and he's just like a full-grown man, just walking on his knees. And they give him like when they're in the motel, and he comes out of the bathroom, has the robe on. It's like an oversized robe, just to make him look smaller.
Yeah,
and then him getting into bed, like he just kind of like
jumps. It's what little kids do when you're playing house and someone has to be the baby.
Yeah.
Or the little toddler, and they walk on their knees with the shoes on.
Yeah.
Like, I remember doing that when I was a little kid, playing an even smaller kid.
I can imagine.
Not in front of a camera on a multi-million-dollar set.
So this came out in 2002. At the time, before TipToes, Gary Oldman had done Hannibal. He was the Fifth Element. He was in Lost in Space, I guess.
Unrecognizable in Hannibal.
He was in The Scarlet Letter, Leon the Professional, Romeo is Bleeding, True Romance, Bram Stoker's Dracula, JFK. He was in a bunch of stuff. He was already Sid and Nancy. He was Sid Vicious.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
He was already like a name. He was already he was lead roles. He was fucking Dracula. And the fact that he does this movie, that Matthew Bright, who had only done 4 movies that were all not great, according to IMDb, he is directing the man who played Dracula
in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula,
is bananas.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Coppola directed that, right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Well, the fact that you got...
That's the pull that John Langley from Cops has.
I guess so. You got Gary Oldman to get on his knees and play a little person. He read the script and he's like, this is a role of a lifetime for me.
Role of a lifetime. I can hear it now. Oscar.
I know.
He was gunning for that Oscar even back then.
Was that the expectation for this?
I mean, you got to go into every role expecting you're getting an Oscar.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that only 3 years later, he was Jim Gordon. And even 1 year before that, he was Sirius Black.
Yeah.
You go from TipToes to Sirius Black. You go from Rolf to that character.
How many years later was he Sirius Black?
3 years.
Fuck, really? This movie, it feels way older than 2003.
Yeah, because the topic...
Maybe it was like greenlit in 1999 when like anything was getting greenlit.
Yeah, I
it
guess.
just took that long.
That's just crazy to me.
The shooting took so much longer because he had to shelf around on his knees.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Can't imagine the knee pain, actually. Like, he must have had, like, knee pads walking around.
Yeah, for sure.
And, yeah, then the CGI shoes that you would see sometimes were all, like, grainy, and you could definitely tell that it was terribly done. It's almost like you should have just cast a little person.
Like almost like that.
Yeah, and then David Alan Grier's random role in that, it just was... Why? Why were you in that? Why were you like this sort of what's his name? Little Richard type character.
Yeah, exactly.
With like this terrible wig, like a Jerry curl, but like a wavy Jerry curl.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me of his character from Jumanji in the early days.
Oh yeah. But yeah, TipToes, insane movie that is terrible, but it was fun to watch.
It was that.
All right. Yeah, let's throw some grades on TipToes. Tyler didn't give a grade, did he? Just give it.
He said no. He said
just half star.
I don't know. Let me see here.
He said half star, no like.
Here we go. He says F, grade F.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Failed.
Yeah. All right, Pete. What?
Oh God.
What are you giving TipToes?
I mean, everything in me tells me this should be a failing movie.
All of Kate Beckinsale's stupid hats in this movie.
But something about it.
Something. There's a certain je ne sais quoi.
There's the overall like vibe of it.
It's got a secret sauce.
It has some redeeming qualities. Like at least a few. The dinner scene alone gives it a half star bump. Because like that ridiculous dinner scene.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They did throw a curveball at you though. With
I'm giving TipToes a D-.
All right.
D-. Barely barely missing.
Barely passing.
Barely passing. Yeah, and for all the reasons we already talked about.
But I did love this movie. I didn't love this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't love this movie.
Let's go for it.
Definitely did not.
Yeah.
How about you?
All right. Yeah, I think I'm in the same page pretty much. It's a solid D for dwarf.
There you go.
Good point, Joseph.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah, it was just a bananas concept from the get-go. Probably very exploitative in nature, but it seems like Peter Dinklage has some praise for the original cut. Said it's gorgeous or beautiful, and we're just never going to see it.
Yeah.
Release the bright cut.
Yeah, that's what we really need.
Yeah, 2.5 hour.
TipToes bright cut.
We want a 150-minute version of this movie.
I'd watch it. I would for sure watch it. Absolutely.
I definitely watch it over Rebel Moon.
Oh God,
Snyder cut.
Don't remind me. I still committed to watch both of those.
Oh God,
Both
there's
the
two
Snyder
of them.
Cut, both the Snyder cut. Somehow. Hold on.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Zack Snyder convinced me to watch 4 movies by making 1 movie. I don't know how the fuck he did it.
The son of a gun did it.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it was like a fun to watch, terrible movie made maybe in bad faith.
Yeah, watch it with friends.
But it was a comically good time, and yeah, I'm glad that we got through it.
It's really something.
Yeah. So watch it. Streaming on Prime.
Yeah, of course. So all the gems go to.
Yeah. But now we're done with that. That's off the wheel, and now it's time for the wheel.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
That's right. TipToes off the wheel. And Joseph, you have a replacement pick. What are you going to replace it with?
All right. I kind of been thinking about this.
Big decision.
Yeah. Big decision.
Every week.
This one wasn't on the wheel for that long, I don't think. But yeah, I've been kind of thinking about this. I've toyed with this idea, and I think I'm going to do it. So in the past, we've done The Godfather, and all of them. Like, they stayed on the wheel the whole time. We did the Before trilogy, stayed on the wheel the whole time till we watched them all. And then Dune, kind of.
Yeah, we did. That was in 1 week.
Yeah, one go.
Ultra cut.
Yeah.
Because that's 1 movie.
Yeah. But
I'm afraid
there is a part 1 and part 2 of this movie, of this franchise, I should say. I've never seen it. Never seen either of them.
I have no idea what this is.
And this is gonna be we're gonna enter the world of Paul Blart.
Paul Blart?
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 Paul Blarts?
Yeah. Paul Blart, Mall Cop 1, Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2.
I've seen Paul Blart.
Have you?
Not the whole thing, start to finish, but I've watched it, and I'm like, this is fucking the worst.
Paul Blart, Mall Cop. And I figured we did TipToes. Might as well just continue on this trend of not good movies. And I'm pretty sure there's a second one. Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2, right? Yeah, there is. 2009 was the first one. 2015 was the second one.
Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. Back to the segue.
Yeah, so the Paul Blart
universe.
Yeah. Franchise. And luckily there's only 2 of them. Maybe not luckily, there's any of them.
Yeah. Jack is confused what you're doing.
Me too. I'm confused now. I'm in a strange strange time in my life.
Yeah. He hit puberty and now he's making bad decisions.
It's 108 in October in Sacramento, and I'm not thinking straight.
Ball Plart Call Mop.
Yeah, Call Mop 2.
All right, well, we got that on the way. So you're gonna leave the hunt, right?
Yeah, I'm leaving the hunt.
Hopefully we'll get the hunt first, and then we can put both of them.
Yeah.
Fill it up back to back. Okay.
And this isn't. What was the movie we reviewed last week? Grizzly Man, right? No, wasn't it?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm so shitty with that. Let's see what last week. I want to say it was Grizzly Man. No, Turtles.
Oh, I tried Turtles.
Grizzly Man was before that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be the Wheel of Destiny right here. We got 8 selections on here. 2 from each of us and 2 from the Patreon pick. And Tyler's here, so he forfeits his pick. If it lands on one of his, we're going to spin again.
Okay.
That's what happens. I don't really know if we're going to do that or not, but well, we already reviewed one of Tyler's movies when he wasn't here. Roadhouse. Right?
Roadhouse, yeah.
We picked it, and then he wasn't here.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we got Paul Blart, Mall Cop from Joseph. The Hunt from Joseph. Lars and the Real Girl from listener Chris. Identity from listener Ryan. Falling in Love Like in Movies from Pete. Olympus Has Fallen from Pete. Broadcast News from Tyler. And Cyrus from Tyler. So this is the spin. This is what we're going to do next week.
Eclectic selection. Not Paul Blart.
Oh, it's The Hunt.
Alrighty.
2 in a
Fucking
row.
liberals.
Yeah.
MAGAs, Proud Boys, what have you.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, so me and Pete will be rewatching The Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler will be watching it for the first time,
He's
even though he was there with us.
He's seen some scenes.
Yeah, he saw the beginning,
The first scene and like the last scene.
and in the end.
He saw the middle where the pig was there, and he's like, "Why is there a pig there?"
Yeah, don't do or don't go listen to our first review.
I think you should listen to it. It's super fun.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
yeah. It was our last field trip before the coronavirus took over.
Yeah.
And it was the last time we went to the theaters for a while.
Tyler was physically there,
He was present,
but
no, he wasn't present. He was there.
he was physically there.
But
His physical body embodied the seat in the
yeah,
theater.
it was there.
But what was going on upstairs, who knows?
Yeah, I looked over and there was definitely...
There was snoring.
The eyes were closed.
Yeah. I'm like, Tyler, you're snoring. He woke up. MAGA! MAGA!
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah.
It was a strange time. It was like so when I started realizing maybe I shouldn't go to the movies with Tyler.
Yeah, that was pre the ban. Yeah, I saw 2 movies with Tyler after that, and before we realized he has to go to a different screening.
Yeah, I know. We saw The Green Knight, and that was the second to last. Or that was the actual last movie.
I saw Crimes of the Future with him, and I think that was the last one.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna go back to The Hunt, and that's streaming. Let's see.
Probably on Max.
The Hunt, not Mads Mikkelsen's The Hunt. This is Betty Gilpin's The Hunt, directed by Craig Zobel. According to IMDb, it's streaming on Freevee, so Amazon Prime. You can access it there, I think.
Cool.
At least here in the old US.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I think I like this movie a lot.
I've only seen it the once.
I think I've rewatched it once since then with Brianna at home.
Yeah.
And Betty Gilpin is just the best. She's so funny in this.
Yeah, she's
so
the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Alrighty.
Cool. All right, so next week we're going to watch The Hunt. But for right now, thank you to our cool-ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. If you want to support us as well, you can hit us up on the Patreon, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. But following on the YouTube is just as impactful. Maybe not just as impactful, but it helps out. And we're still running today we made the first post for our physical media giveaway. We've already had a few people share it. Heather has, Bruce has, Joel has. There's a post on the Facebook page. There's a post on the Twitter account. Just follow us over there, and we'll give all the socials in the closing comments. But you can win any of these. We're going to give two giveaways away, one on the YouTube subscribers list and one on the people that are sharing. So share it with your friends. The hope is that we get more people subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you guys get some free physical media. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we review the absolutely ridiculous, terrible movie, TipToes. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast. And send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
And don't even think about going to the comments or to the show notes and looking up our voicemail, because it doesn't work.
Yeah. So just send an email.
Yeah, just send us an email or even a voice memo. That'd be fine too.
Yeah. Send us a voice recording.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See ya.